Hello, welcome to Jets Chaos. I am Jeremy and I am the chaos, but there's going to be some more chaos here. You'll find out just what kind right after this. I would regret it if people look back at the first episode and you weren't on it.
Yeah, well, I like that. It's called forward thinking.
We have one of the worst beats in the world. We do. Our beat is horrible.
Connor could shove that article up his ass.
And then I went to that game, and I was like, this is the greatest team I've ever seen in my life. I'm a Jet fan. This is going to be the greatest run ever. Yeah.
No, because if they take Aquanu, I'm not complaining.
Joe Douglas is the king of keeping shit close to the vest.
A 2, a 4, and a 6 for Darnold?
Did the Jets really ruin Sam Darnold, or did Sam Darnold just suck all along, and we were just trying to talk ourselves into it?
And Hamilton is a player who can potentially make a very big impact.
And suddenly here we are today. You can't get rid of him.
Right. It's like a plague.
Joe Douglas was hired because he's not those general managers.
Okay, Luscious.
Somebody is going to fall just like Elijah Moore did, just like Michael Carter did.
You know, what would, if you had one sentence to say to Joe Douglas, what would you say? So you would say, you had me at hello, and then give him a big old wet one right on the smack.
Yes, that never gets old. Never gets old. Hey, I would like to announce that I have a brand new member. Welcome, Michael Lando, the newest snacker. I got to stop saying member. He's not a YouTube member. He's a YouTube snacker. Thank you, Michael Lando, for becoming a snacker. Eventually, there'll be lots of us snackers, and the world will have to wonder what to do because there won't be enough food. Harlan, what's going on? Rob D, GVH, Twisted, all here. And look at this. I got a super chat already. I haven't even brought anybody in. But yesterday was great. Buffalo Jets did a great analysis. Well, Buffalo Jets fan always does a great analysis. Did you see the other day on Friday night when I kept calling him an asshole? You know that's going to come back to haunt me at some point, right? You know there's no way I'm going to get away with that for very long. Okay, Johnny G, what's going on? Aunt Gina is here. What's going on, Aunt Gina? Great to see you. Twisted is here. Aunt Jets 82 is here. Sluggo is here. Mark Reese is here. Everybody's just jumping right in. I am going to the opener, Aunt Gina, the opener with your nephew. In case you didn't know, I will be there with Green Bean. And let me go back to that super chat real fast. What were you saying? Yes, it was. Oh, I read that already. Okay, thanks for the super chat, Daniel. I appreciate that. You know, it'll go towards that $100. I'm betting on the Jets to win the Super Bowl, which is basically means I'm going to take your money and I'm going to burn it. But anyway, let me get going here. We have some guests I have to get to. They're sitting in the waiting room wondering when I'm going to shut up and actually let them in. So we're going to start. The first time he's getting this intro. It's his first time getting this intro. It's the return of a legend that started in December of last year. Even I was not excited every time there was a touchdown. It became my accomplice in watch parties. No vegetarian, vegan eating, vegan hot dog eating, vegan turkey eating, vegan steak eating, vegan sausage eating, hot sauce eating, champion of the world! My brotherly revenge!
That is the best intro I have ever received.
But we're not done yet.
No.
I have talked about this before. I have never seen a YouTube content provider hit and break 3,000 subscribers in less time than this man. Is it his looks? Is it that he makes 200 videos a day that are a minute and a half long? Is it because he just knows so much about the Jets? Is it because he's a great guard that's being rewarded by some divine God? I don't know, but he's the fastest, the hottest, the Jets content provider in the world! Buffalo Jets fan.
Yo.
What's going on? And it's been too long, Jeremy. Glad to be on.
Oh yeah, it's been way too long.
The intros are getting better and better. The content is staying the same, but the intros are getting excellent.
Well, I'm trying to improve the content by improving the intro.
There we go. How could you not stick around for after an intro like that? It's gonna be a great show.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, we got the Chiefs fan in the house. Hey, we had a Denver fan in here the other day, and I remembered him. Me and my brother found him when we were covering a Denver football game watch party, and he still comes in. It's pretty cool. Thomas Cahill in the house. What's going on? Rob D. They're all still piling in. But anyway, hey, we got a great show. We had an exciting weekend because we had the green and white game. You can't beat that. So, first takeaways. I'll pass it to you, Buffalo Jets fan. What are your first takeaways from the green and white? What sticks out the most to you?
I think the first thing, obviously, Zach looked pretty good, but I think Zach looked pretty good because the first team offensive line played really well. And we know that that's kind of been a storyline throughout camp, specifically with our edge defenders getting the best of our tackles, whoever they put out there. But I'm of the optimistic view that we should believe that our defensive line is really good, more so than our offensive line is struggling. And I think when in doubt, until you have better reason, go with the optimistic view. And our defensive line is going to be giving a lot of people some trouble. So I'd love to see that. Zach Wilson, I think you did mention this in a video you did earlier, Jeremy. He was 12 of 19, but a couple notes on that. Number one, there was 5 passes that could have been caught. The out of bounds to Wilson, the one to Berrios that in a real game probably would have been challenged and made a catch. And then Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, and Jeff Smith all had a drop. So really, he had one bad ball out of 19. That was the interception to the linebacker. And additionally, you look at 100 yards, like, oh, that sucks. Well, there's not really any yak yardage in a scrimmage. Like there was a play where Tyler Conklin ran a skinny post and, they just blow it dead because they don't want, safeties hitting them. They don't want people getting tackled from behind. But that could have been a 50-plus yard play in a real game. So you couldn't have asked for anything better from Zach Wilson. I think he's getting better at judging throwing windows and letting it rip and trusting his arm strength. You saw the touchdown to Tyler Conklin on the first drive was a tight window, anticipation throw, chemistry throw on the money. We love to see that. And I think this running game is going to be a problem for other teams. I mean, out of all the rookies we took, and I know you touched on Sauce too, and Sauce passes the eye test, but out of all the rookies we took, the one that I just feel it in my heart of hearts and believe it in my bones is just going to be a game changer right away is Breece Hall. I think this kid is going to step onto the field and be a top 12 player at his position right away. And you add that on top of Michael Carter, and with the strength of our offensive line being the running game, we love to see that. Now, the downside, I think the biggest downside is the drops. And Robert Saleh was like, oh, it's the depth perception in the field. Dude, come on. Me and you, Jeremy, can go out to a high school field in the dark right now and throw the pigskin around, and I'm going to catch most of them. That's a ridiculous excuse. These are professional wide receivers. And the drops last year were a problem. You and I are both high on Corey Davis. He had the dropsies last year, first time in his career. That's got to go away. I don't want to hear, oh, it was a little behind him. Yeah, that's how throws in zone coverage work. Sometimes you got to throw behind a receiver so, he's not getting his helmet taken off. And Corey Davis is paid like a wide receiver, a professional wide receiver. Elijah Moore was a top 40 pick. If the ball hits your hands, you got to catch it. So that was the biggest negative for me was the drops, but I'm way more optimistic about how the offensive line played and how Zach Wilson looked. Really, you're talking 2 incompletions that weren't drops. Really impressive.
And just to answer Gina Arena's question before you talk, Lee, I just want to answer a question by saying my brother Lee, who's right here in front of you, because me and Green Bean and pretty much all the Jet content providers will be at the game, Lee is going to be doing the watch party. So if you come to my channel right here, Lee will be there and we will be calling in and I'll be putting the camera on Buffalo, whether he likes it or not. And all the other YouTube Jets providers, I'll be running up to them, putting the camera in their face to say hello. So if you want to see us watching the game and hanging out in the hangar and feel like you're there, come to my channel and watch Lee do the watch party. So go ahead, Lee.
No, I was just going to agree with Buffalo, and that is that when you look at teams that win, you don't even say great catch when there's a great catch. I mean, it's just expected that a receiver in the NFL on a winning team is going to come up with anything that comes anywhere close to them. That's just a given. And if you can't do that, then you're not going to win games. You're not going to keep drives alive, missing catches that are catchable. They're catchable. You got to catch them.
Yeah. So Twisted wants Salah to address it. I want to say it's a couple of weeks into practice. So, it's the 11th practice. There's still a lot of time before the season starts. So, and we don't know that Salah's not doing exactly what Twisted is asking him to do. There's a chance that he's all over it right now, and he recognizes that. And I agree. I noticed the same thing. There was definitely one incompletion that was a catch, and it would have been a catch. And that right away would have brought Zach's numbers up to 69% completion. The Corey Davis drop was blatant. I mean, like, there are drops where it's like, okay, could it have been thrown better? The Corey Davis pass could not have been thrown better. So right away, that puts you, 75, 76% or whatever it is. And then these others were all questionable. But the more important thing is they were all close, except for the one bad pass, except for the bad pick. They were all really close. Some people are overdoing the pick thing. The pick thing is a good thing because whatever mistakes are left in him, whatever misreads are left in him, get it out during practice. And I also want to say it's completely normal because there's never been a season where a quarterback that's, played any reasonable amount of games, like let's say if you took a minimum, started 10 games, has not thrown an interception. Like the greatest years in history of, Peyton Manning's greatest year, for the Denver Broncos, he threw interceptions. Like, it's impossible not to. So you're allowed to make a bad decision on a play or throw an errant pass and throw an interception. It's not a big deal. You have to look at the fact that he threw 19 passes and 18 of them were very good passes. And more importantly, he spread the ball around, was making good decisions, and was getting rid of the ball quickly.
Yeah, I'm okay that he had a bad pass or two. That's not the issue. I have a different issue that I would love the both of you to address.
Okay.
Usually Jeremy knows I'm a very positive guy. I'm always looking at the positive side. Sometimes Jeremy doesn't. But in this case, isn't the fact that the Jets defense allowed so many good passes and so many completions, isn't that an issue from a defensive perspective? I mean, we think we have a great defense, and I don't know that they showed it.
Well, I don't know if I would say I think we have a great defense. I mean, last year we were 32nd in the league, so even if we can raise that to average, I think that would be a huge success. And for me, if the scale is going to tilt one way, give me offense. Like, give me offense or give me freaking death. I can't do it anymore. And that's why, like, in camp, when the offense is struggling, Jets fans get impatient, and I can't blame them because, the past 6 years, we've had a bottom 10 offense, 6 years in a row. And during this time of year, people say, oh, it's been 7 practices. Oh, it's been 10 practices. Oh, it's only been 3 weeks. Oh, our defense is just great. Oh, it's just preseason. Oh, it's just week 1. And then Jeremy's doing mock drafts around Thanksgiving, looking to bring some life into this anemic offense. All right. So yeah, of course, until we prove that we can have a competent offense, people are going to, the burden of proof is on the New York Jets offense to prove that they're competent. And the fans are going to assume otherwise until they can prove it. And nobody thinks so. Now, what Jeremy has said is correct. Everything we say tonight has to be viewed through the lens of there's been like 6 or 7 practices with pads on. All right. So with that in mind, I do want to see as we head to mid-August and, we start doing some of these joint practices. No one thinks that this New York Jets, that's what I keep seeing. People are like, oh, well, the defense is doing so great. That's why the offense is going to struggle. And to me, that excuse is only going to go so far because does anybody in the chat think the Jets are going to have like a top 8 elite defense? No, nobody thinks that. So if this defense is this New York Jets defense that Zach Wilson and company is facing every day, is it going to be significantly better than Baltimore's, than Cleveland, than Pittsburgh that's coming up on 30, 40 days here? No. So I do want to see Zach Wilson and these guys be able to move the ball against this defense like they did in the green and white scrimmage. Now, in terms of, go ahead.
No, what I hear you saying is better the defense isn't good than the offense again. We'll deal with that if that's actually
yes. And obviously you'd like them both to go back and forth, but if you told me like one side of the ball is getting the better of the other side of the ball like 70% of the time this offseason and I had to pick a side, I would go offense, no doubt about it. A note on the defense, on the green and white scrimmage, DJ Reed was out, and they did make a couple plays. Like they had a pick off of Wilson, they had a pick off of Flacco. To be honest, even though some of those drops would have been completions for Zach, it does work both ways in the fact that some of those passes would have been sacks in a real game. Like the ball he threw to Garrett Wilson, that was almost the highlight play where like 3 defenders had to go like this around him because he's got the red jersey on. Like he's not getting that ball off in an actual game. So there's a little give and take there as well.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of an edge there for the offense in that sense. So also, it's not like it's been every day. So it's not like it's reported that every day Zach is crushing them and we're walking down the field and scoring touchdowns. It is going back and forth.
Yep.
One thing to say about the defense is they really weren't giving up tremendous plays. A lot of it were like these short passes. They were checkdowns, which is good for Zach. We want to see him do that. We want to see him take what the defense gives. Understand that Saleh's number one priority is no big plays. So the fact that they weren't throwing lots of deep balls and he was hitting Conklin and the running backs and things like that is a good thing. I do agree that our linebackers, and we need to do something about that short game, though, because it was a problem last year. We got to make sure it's not a problem this year. But some of those plays would not have happened possibly because they would have been sacks. So you take it with a grain of salt. What I look at is just what are the key things this year. I'm looking at Zach Wilson. He's accurate. He's making good decisions. We want to see that continue. Obviously, we're not going to know for sure until week 1, but it's a good sign. It's a good indicator. He certainly had a better green and white game this year than last year. One of the things to look at is, Sauce Gardner, basically brand new, fresh rookie, staying with Elijah Moore, staying with Garrett Wilson, a taller receiver. Garrett Wilson's not tall, but an average height receiver, a shorter receiver, very, very fast receivers, and he's covering them very well. And it's very impressive for a guy who's in the first 2 weeks of camp in his career. The defensive lineman, Quinnen Williams, looks great in camp, right? And he's looking really awesome. Carl Lawson looks healthy. So that was a key takeaway. Whatever he's doing, I hear he's living in the backfield, but more importantly, he's healthy and he's playing at full speed. So these are all great things for us.
Man, maybe the defense is going to be great. I don't know, Jeremy. You're starting to sell me. I don't know. If you really start to I know when I said that, maybe it's just unfair to assume they can't make that leap. And I know Tigo pointed out the fact that they were decimated with injuries, which is true. But if you really look piece by piece, it's I don't know what this defense is missing. I think the thing is, I don't know if they have what I'd call a game wrecker that a lot of really good defenses have. But Carl Lawson could have game-wrecking moments and stretches, and ditto that Quinnen Williams, and ditto John Franklin Myers wrecked through 3 or 4 games last year. So, we don't have a TJ Watt or a Myles Garrett, but we have 3 guys who can be that guy on any given Sunday.
But we also have Sauce.
Yeah.
Not a wrecker, but maybe the elite teams have 2 or 3 guys they can go to when one is covered, but there's a lot of teams out there when you totally smother their lead person going out for a catch, their number one receiver, they don't have a lot to do after that, and it makes it a lot easier for the other defenders. So there's a few games there that he could turn around.
Yeah, and the turnovers too are going to be big, and he's going to be a guy once he gets the ball in his hands, he's going to get some return yardage too. And I just never see, I feel like every practice Sauce Gardner has grown another 2 inches. Is he 7 feet tall now? Seeing him run next to Elijah Moore, it looked like when I play 2-hand touch with my 5th graders. He just looks gigantic next to it. Elijah there was no space, nowhere to go. Elijah had no chance.
I know his nickname Sauce, but when I see him sometimes, I think of those scorpions from the Mummy movies, how they would just cover their prey and they would be dissolved. That's what he reminds me of.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
Yeah. So I mean, it's so funny because anytime you hear about practice, like anytime you hear something good about any player, you could choose to look and just be happy about that good thing from the player, or you could choose to wonder who it was on the opposite side that didn't do well. But that's not how football works. Like, think of any like dynasty team, like when when the 49ers owned the league. That doesn't mean there weren't plays where they got beat and people scored touchdowns on them and defenses stopped them. Right. It's just, that's the game. There's going to be plays where the defense does well and plays where the offense does well. We're just looking for like the pendulum is going to swing each way. But if it was one thing every single day, that would be a real issue, right? I mean, as much as I want the offense to do well and Zach to do well, if the offense was crushing it every single day, I'd be so worried because I'd be like, man, they're not getting any pressure on Zach. So it's like fans have to understand when you hear, Lawson sacks Zach Wilson, like in practice, and you see that go out on Twitter. You can't say, oh, no, he's not throwing the ball fast enough, because you also got to be happy. No, sometimes Carl Lawson, if he's the elite guy we want him to be, is going to get a sack. It's part of football. Every quarterback in the NFL gets sacked sometimes. So it's interesting. It's hard to root one way or the other. So I think you just have to look at individual players and just be grateful for what each individual player is doing. So when I hear something good about Carl Lawson, I don't think of the negative. I only think this is good that Carl Lawson is healthy.
Yeah, I think the only thing there, I think, well, first of all, you have to look at overall trends. Like one individual practice doesn't matter, but over 3 weeks, you can look back and say what's going on. I do think if you look at, obviously Mekhi Becton hasn't played football in a year, so I don't really care at this point. But if it does get into a couple weeks from now, and if to me, everyone on the offensive line gets a pass from Carl Lawson and Quinnen Williams. If Quinnen Williams or Carl Lawson are beating anybody, I'm looking at that as pro Quinnen and pro Carl Lawson, and I'm not worried about Mekhi Becton or Laken Tomlinson if they're getting beat by Quinnen and Carl. Now, if Mekhi Becton's getting the business from Tim Ward, or if Corey Davis can't get open against Isaiah Dunn, though you kind of have to really look through the weeds if you're going to get an accurate view of it. And we have reason to look optimistically now. Like when I see shutdown city for the corners, I have evidence that tells me that means our corners are good and not that our wide receivers are bad, because I know Corey Davis has been if he plays close to a full season, he's been a guy you can pencil in for 900 yards and a handful of touchdowns. We saw Elijah Moore for 6 straight weeks be uncoverable in the NFL. So again, Garrett Wilson's a top 10 pick. He's still a little bit unproven. So when DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner are shutting down Corey Davis and Elijah Moore, I know for a fact that they're shutting down 2 really good football players. All right, this isn't the 2019 roster where it's like we're looking at, Nate Hairston and Darrell Roberts out there. These guys can play.
Hey, let me do a timeout real quick. I can only stay, I can't stay for your 3-hour sessions.
Oh, yeah.
So what I want to say is I noticed that, people have been giving you some dollars, and that's awesome. But you've never broken 50. So I would like to see you break 50 before I leave. And if you do, I'm going to do, because I do hot sauce with you, that's our thing. I'm going to do a teaspoon of Hoff's Wake Up Call hot sauce, which is pretty hot sauce. It's also got some caffeine in it to wake us up. But $50, I'm going to do this bad boy.
Shoot, you mean if the total of the chat, that means $48 because Daniel already gave us $3.
48 more. I'll go further. I'll go further. Oh, my whole setup just fell.
I'm going to join you on all this because I have that hot sauce because we have the same hot sauces. So I'm going to join you on this little promise. And yes, if we get $50 in super chats total, I will definitely do a teaspoon of the Hoff Wake Up. I'll go down and get it.
Okay, here's something. We get 100, which we're not going to do. We know we're not going to get $100. There's no way, man. But if we do, and I don't think you have this hot sauce, but this is super hot, and I know you don't like it when they're really super hot. This is Carnival by Karma Sauce. It's ranked as a super hot sauce by them, and we've done it on our show. It's my favorite hot sauce. Got amazing flavor, but it burns, man. It burns. I'll do a full teaspoon of this bad boy straight as well for 100.
I'll match that. I'm not happy about it. I guess if I got $100, I'd be happy about it.
Have you ever done that much? You've never done that much.
Pucker up. Oh, we're that much closer. I'll do it too. Now it's like 46. You better keep track of these super chats.
What you
Thank
can't
Thomas
add?
Cahill. Now it's $4, so we're going towards 50. That's first. But all right.
All right, back to football. I just
Back
wanted to lay
football.
that
Thank
out
you,
there.
Thomas.
If you ever...
Okay, I'm gonna match whatever you do. I got both hot sauces. I'll do it too. I'm not gonna like leave you hanging. So
snort it.
Okay, we'll keep reminding people where we are. So we got $46 left until we have to do the wake up hot sauce, and a lot more than that left. $96 left before we do Carnival, which is freaking crazy because that's the bonnet pepper or whatever. That's really hot.
Scotch bonnet, baby. Scotch
bonnet. Oh boy. Anyway, so Dwayne Brown. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Dwayne Brown. He was at practice, standing on the sideline, offensive lineman, a Pro Bowler last year, but 37 years old. What is the price? How much will he cost? Is a question people have. And should we pay any price? We have the cap. We have about $10 million in cap. Is he the guy? Is he what you do with that extra cap space? Buffalo?
Yeah, offensive tackle. Backup. He's not technically a swing tackle. I think most likely he would be a backup. I think that's the last glaring hole on the roster. And if he wants to get an incentive-laden contract like Riley Reif got, where if you look at it, like the base is like $3 million. All right, so that would be fine to me. And I don't know. I don't know what it means for George Fant. George Fant, it's a tricky situation. I think that personally, I would like to see them extend George Fant, a little 2-year extension with an out after 3 years and just have some security there. Could Dwayne Brown, when it was posted, people were like, oh, he's a starter. This means they're not sold on Fant. I don't know if I'd go that far. I don't think the interest in Dwayne Brown means that the Jets aren't happy with the talent they have at tackle, but I think it might mean that they're a little concerned about the health that they have at tackle, being that Mekhi Becton is now rocking the knee brace, and that George Fant is still limited in practice. Like, to me, if they were both had 100% clean bill of health, we might be pursuing a cheaper alternative instead of paying for a guy who was, a Pro Bowler last year, because Riley Reif is going to start in Chicago. So Dwayne Brown would probably be, if he doesn't start, Dwayne Brown would probably be the best tackle in the NFL. That's the best backup tackle in the NFL if he signs with us and he's a backup. So typically when you look at teams around the NFL, when they have huge investments in backups, oftentimes there's some area of concern with those starters. If you look at the teams who have highly paid backup quarterbacks, they're backing up Tua Tagovailoa and Daniel Jones and maybe Kenny Pickett, right? They're not backing up Aaron Rodgers, So that's where I'm at. I think the Jets, they like where they're at with their tackles in terms of talent, but the health is a little bit of a flag, and Dwayne Brown will come in and he would solve that right away. I don't care that he's never played right tackle, because if Becton goes out at right tackle, you can swing Fant over to right tackle and then put Dwayne Brown in at left tackle, and you can still win. I think if we do that, there's no real holes on this roster. Sure, we could still be better at free safety and linebacker, but it would be a complete stamp for an A+ offseason. Hopefully they don't let him leave Jersey, and within 24 hours we get that tweet that he's a New York Jet.
There's always injuries, and they're going to rotate these guys anyway. So even the word starter doesn't mean he's the only guy playing. So
on the offensive line it does. On the defensive line maybe not, but offensive linemen, they play all. Whoever is starting is going to play all the snaps.
Well, I just can't even remember a game where there were an offensive lineman running to the sidelines in pain, pulling something and going down. I mean, it seems pretty constant. So I just want to have someone great out there every down.
Yeah, I feel like you need to have an extra one that's paid. I think it's so funny when people are saying, "Oh, fans should be afraid," or something. Something bad's going to happen, because what's so ridiculous about that is for 2 months people are screaming, "We need a swing tackle. We need a swing tackle." Everybody's yelling, "We need a swing tackle," and you want it to be someone good. And then when you go out and you find someone, you're talking to a good swing tackle,
That's
someone
so
to give
true.
us that depth we're talking about. It's like, oh, they don't like Becton, or they don't like Fent, they don't trust them. You see, they really are hurt, and it's like, are you crazy? They're doing exactly what we asked and hoped they would do.
Right.
They're talking to a quality backup that would make a great swing tackle, and people still aren't happy and find negative in it. So it's just amazing to me. I want to really quickly thank Barney Miller. It's kind of funny hearing myself say that. I like thanking Barney Miller. Fischler, baby, Fischler. Spent your money at MetLife. I hope you had a good time. That's pretty awesome. This is also pretty funny and interestingly. I don't know what to do about this. I don't know if that's a euro or I can't tell what denomination of money that is. That could be a buck. That could be 11
It
bucks.
looks like a euro, and I think that means it's about equal to the dollar these days.
Okay, so we'll count it as 11. So that's 17 so far. You better write this down.
No, I think
But here's-
27.
But now Bismo is throwing us for a loop because he's I know for a fact is in Australia. So you're gonna have to like quickly Google and do some conversion because I don't know what 10 Australian dollars is in the US.
I don't know. We're going to start getting someone giving us 1,000 yen, which isn't worth that much. And we're going to have to go deep on the hot sauce.
Now, I think $10 in Australia gets you 2 meat pies. Tell me if I'm wrong, Gizmo. And the 2 meat pies in America it's about $10 because in America, like if you were buying little meat pies, they'd probably be $5 each. I don't know. But I guess for now we have to count it as 10. So that's I'm lost.
Oh, and
count.
it's 11. It's 11.
Oh, okay. So we're like what 26 now or something?
I think
27?
20. Oh, no. So we're taking away 3. 24. 24.
Okay, we're at 24 now. Why are we taking away 3?
Maximilian says it's 691.
Oh, okay. 24. Thank you, Maximilian. Thanks a million, Maximilian. Okay. Very cheesy. McGovern didn't get hurt. McDermott did. I know. I got scared too, for a second there. And like when Frankie was saying it, and then when he was reading it on Twitter, and then I realized he had said McDermott, not McGovern. But there was a moment that I was really, really nervous.
Me too. And then I felt bad for like not caring that a player got hurt. But I mean, if somebody was going to be hurt, let's be honest, we'd prefer it to be someone who's not starting. But hopefully he's okay. We haven't gotten news on it. Probably a high ankle sprain. And then the need for Dwayne Brown, goes up even more. It's funny because it was like, Jets announced that they're going to bring in a good player. And then Jets fans immediately start like fighting about it. I'm like, this is why we can't have nice things. Like, this is a good thing. Dwayne Brown's a good football player. He's going to help our team.
So Aaron Butler, you actually make a good point. But I'll just say that's a really good problem to have. If Garrett Wilson and Sauce develop into stars, that's the best kind of problem to have. That's the problem we want. I want to have a problem. I want to every year say, how are we going to afford all these stars we're drafting? It's a great problem. And, I'm sure he's a Baltimore Ravens fan, so I'm sure he experiences that problem because they draft very well and they've had to let go of a lot of stars. So believe me, if you were a Jets fan for the past 10 years, at least you'd understand, boy, do we long for that problem. The problem of how are we going to sign these great players? Because we haven't had that problem, have we?
Hey, I have a question for you two. Very serious question. We have about $10 million left to spend. Do we really have a chance to get anybody meaningful after this? So is there any difference to us as fans of spending 5 or 10 million on this guy?
Well, it gets carried over, I think, if you don't use it for the next year. So that's one thing.
But I'm signing up for 1 year.
No, but I'm saying if you go into the season and you're 6 under the cap, I think you have 6 more to use for the following year. I think. Am I right about that?
You can roll it over. You can roll over unused cap.
The other thing is there's going to be other people released in camp. There's going to be cap casualties that we might want as well. But that doesn't bother me because what's our number one need right now to complete our roster? I mean, this is the number one need. But if you see JD negotiating hard and say, well, why doesn't he just give it to him? We have it. The reason is the better deal we get, the more money we might have to get some other guy that gets cut. That's because of the, there's still like 6-7 teams, I believe, that are over the cap, that are literally going to have to make very difficult decisions and cut real players.
Yeah, and the other note is like the fan, you said like as fans, that's what I want to do. As a fan, a few short months ago, I wanted Amari Cooper because I'm an idiot. And that's why Joe Douglas is running the New York Jets and I'm not. But the thing is, the reason why you can't do that is that's how you get into the Jets tax, because then agents pick up on that. And then agents know the New York Jets are desperate. And they'll pay you more than you're worth. The only way to stop doing that is to just say no. Like we said no to Riley Reif and we wanted him. We said no to Larry Ogunjobi and we wanted him. So as Jets fans, we can't have it both ways. We can't complain that we're paying Tremaine Johnson $1 gazillion and then also complain that we miss out on some guys. Part of having a disciplined team is that you're going to get outbid sometimes, and we're just going to have to live with that.
And how do we feel about how JD's doing right now, salary-wise?
The only player who has a contract more than they're worth, in my opinion, on this team is CJ Mosley, and JD didn't sign him. I don't think there's a single player that you can say is like significantly overpaid on the roster. So he's doing great. And you look at all these contracts, it's either next year or the year after there is an out, including like our top 5 biggest cap hits. CJ has an out, JFM has an out, Carl Lawson has an out, Corey Davis has an out. I don't think we'll have the need to, but we could go ahead and flip this roster on its head again next year based on the cap flexibility we're going to have.
Awesome.
So, Lee, we are up to $46 now because...
I thought 44.
Oh, 44, sorry, because Tigo is generously...
That's crazy. Thanks, Tigo. Thanks for
awesome,
eating up my mouth, man.
Tigo, I appreciate that, my friend. That is very generous of you. Either generous or very sadistic of you.
6 more, and we just have to stop the show and do the sauce.
I can't believe that we are so close to possibly having to... Oh, my God.
When you first said that goal, I was like, there's no way that's going to happen, but people are, wow, they can get behind a cause.
I'm getting nervous because we're not just getting near the possibility of eating the wake up. We might have to also eat the carnival. Oh no!
I think
you're already over it. You're over 50.
We're at 68, man. We got to do the wake up.
Oh, wait a second. We're at 49 with this one. 44
yeah, but then I just see.
No, but then we had a 20.
Let's not
look at Michael.
Future. Let's not jump into the future. We're at 49. We need $1 more.
No, we just got 19. We just got 20
I know,
more.
but stop jumping ahead. I got to celebrate this. This deserves some attention. Putting sauce in your mouth is one thing. Tomorrow is a whole different experience. Love it up. Buff sat back. Have fun, guys. Thank you, Twisted. We appreciate that. And just as I thought we were still $1 away from having to do it, Michael Lando just took away any doubt. And not only did he take away any doubt, he's putting us in danger of having to do the carnival sauce, because now we're at $69. And I'm wondering if you guys somehow conspired and did that together, because how did we end up with $69? And now the guy who's on the show, I don't think it ever happens. He's on the show and he just super chatted in a way kind of like himself. So,
Jeremy, I have some advice, and that is that we do the half right now to separate it from the other one, or we're going to be doomed.
Right, yeah, you're going to do double duty in about 10 minutes here. You guys better hurry up.
We're at 73. Okay, we have to take turns going because I'm going to have to run all the way downstairs to get this sauce.
All right, I'll do mine first.
Okay, so while you guys are doing that, I'm going to run downstairs. Let me put it on a good question or something. So, Sluggo, what we're talking about is since we've gotten over $50 in super chats, we have to eat this hot sauce. And if we get to 100, I think we're at 71 now. No, 73. If we get to $100, then we have to do this even hotter sauce. So that's what's going on right now.
So I'm doing the wake up call, and I'm overflowing. My teaspoon doth overflow.
Okay, answer that question. Kevin, talk about McDermott.
Sure.
Here we go.
Here comes the.
I'll be right back, guys. I have to get the hot sauce.
Okay, do your thing, Jeremy. Oh, I can't do spicy. Even watching you do that. So how hot is that? Like 1 to like death sauce. How hot is that?
We rated this one on our show 4, and that's why it's only 50 to get there. Oh, it's very hot. But we rate them on a 1/4 teaspoon straight, not a full teaspoon. So it's a big deal to do a full teaspoon of these hot sauces. The next one, I think we rated a 6. So it's very steamy. A 9 knocked me off the show once.
Oh my god! All right,
those are only 1/4 teaspoons, and we're talking about a full teaspoon here.
Damn. Now we have people sending obscure. Yeah, you guys. By the time Jeremy gets back, you guys are going to be at 100. This is crazy.
He's going back to back.
I love it. Then they could use McDermott as tight end like they did last year. I believe he caught a touchdown. He did. I mean, if we're being honest, like I think that's kind of more of a joke at this point, Harlan. Him being a jumbo tight end. The truth of the matter is, with respect, Connor McDermott is a really bad offensive tackle. Even for a backup, he's pretty bad. So we had to get somebody in here. Absolutely. And Dwayne Brown is a significant upgrade. I saw Trent the Great had a question. What's causing all the drops on this receiving core, and is it something Zach is doing? Because multiple Jets wide receivers keep dropping balls that it seems like he's putting directly into their hands. All right, well, we'll pause for Jeremy to do his hot sauce.
Hey, Jeremy, hurry because we're close. We're getting really close to the next one.
What do you mean? Are these new ones?
13-13 takes us to 82.
82. Okay, let me go down. I didn't even see that one come in. Well, thank you, Knobcraft. I think thank you, or I hate you. Okay, I got to do this in a hurry. So what are we at? What number, Lee? How much money?
I think 82. And I'm going to say, I'm going to say we will have at least a 1/4 teaspoon, depending on how hot it is. Because again, a 1/4 teaspoon of the Reaper sauce knocked me off a show.
The Reaper sauce. Oh my god!
The Reaper sauce knocked me off. Huh?
We talked about Carnival. What does Reaper have to do anything?
I was saying that there were people asking how hot the sauces are.
Oh. Okay.
I can't speak for Jeremy, but I will try the hot Cosby sauce, minimum a 1/4 tea. If I can do more, I'll do more.
We never did that much before. That's a lot in once. That's a lot at once.
I know it's in my belly now, and I feel a little funny.
Oh boy, it's building. What were we talking about? Oh, the Jets.
No, but will you? Knobcraft wanted to know: will you do his hot Crosby sauce if he sends it to us? We're at different locations, so we each would need a bottle to do that.
Yeah. But I mean, if at worst case, it would just have to be a wait until the next time we see each other.
Yeah, we could always exchange sauce then. Yeah.
Right. Like it would have to be the next time we see each other that we can exchange sauce. But yeah, we'll take sauces. If someone wants to send sauces for us to do, that's fine. So it looks like we got another one. They really want to see me suffer, don't they?
Yeah, your skin is already changing colors, Jeremy.
Yeah, that was a big gulp of hot sauce. That was no joke. These are not like Tabasco or like these little wimpy sauces. I hope you guys understand that. This is like some real deal stuff. Woo. There's some habanero in this one. I can't even see the words on the screen. I'm touching the eyes. Okay.
Don't touch your eyes, man. Whatever you do, don't touch your eyes.
Okay, what does that 2 bring us to, Lee? I can't keep count.
84.
84. Okay, 84. Oh my God, we're gonna have to do Carnival, maybe. Oh my God.
Just put distance between it.
Okay, what's up, Skills?
Let's talk football. Let's talk football.
Let's talk about football. We're here to talk about the Jets, though. So, okay. Man, it's hard to think. Anyway, I really liked this one play where I don't know if this is relevant to what we were talking about, but there was this one play where Breece Hall, like in the middle of a run, kind of made a cut to the outside and got like an extra 7 yards, and Eccles had to push him out of bounds. And it was like this beautiful move. It looked like, it didn't look like a running back that's just average, that just goes head first and takes the hole, hits the hole, gets the yardage, and falls down. It looked like the kind of run that you see a star running back do, like one of the big names, you know, and you know what I mean? It was like you could just tell, like he was like the way he cut, changed direction, exploded in the next direction. It's something that I haven't seen on the Jets for a really long time.
What about Zach running? What about Zach?
Zach is going to be but we don't want it to ever be like that Kansas City Bills game where that was their offense. We want Zach's running to be only when necessary and hopefully not too often, because quarterbacks like that run too much, they don't have long careers. That's my fear there.
Yeah, I think Zach, he did have, I think in the first half, he had 3 rushes for 24 yards. In the Kansas City game, it's interesting he brought that one up. Obviously, he's not going to run like Josh Allen. He's just not, built that way. I don't even think the Bills should be running Josh Allen that much, to be honest, if they don't want him to, be like Cam Newton and be shot when he's 29. But in terms of Kansas City, I think Mahomes, obviously I'm not going to compare Zach to Mahomes in terms of overall quarterback play yet, but I think the way Mahomes uses his legs could be a model for Zach Wilson, because Mahomes is very sneaky. He's opportunistic. He always seems to, a 3rd and 4, he can kind of scoot down the sideline, and he's never taken big hits. And so, Mahomes, you could pencil him in for like 400 yards and 4 or 5 rush touchdowns a year. I think that's a good barometer for Zach Wilson to use his athleticism.
I had to blow my nose. That's why I was off camera.
They think that I'm red now. Carnival is like so much hotter than this one.
Hey, you want it to be slow. You don't want it right now.
I don't want it right now. Guys, hold up on your super chats. Don't be in a rush. There's a long show ahead. You don't have to do it now. $16, a lot of time to get there. Okay, so Whitehead, I didn't notice him. Was he not playing yesterday?
I thought he played. I think the only starter who was out on defense was DJ Reed.
Oh.
But he's a guy who's not, again, in practice where you can't really, really hit people. That's kind of his thing. So it makes sense that he's going to be a little bit quieter in camp. Camp is really for, the wide receivers, running backs, and corners. That's who really shines in camp, because the blocking is kind of meh and you can't really hit anybody.
What is this guy, crazy? Stephen Engel thinks that you're never going to collaborate with me again because we did this.
I'm going to collaborate with you more because you did this.
You gave us a deuce, baby. You gave us a deuce.
And I don't even have any skin in the game. I don't even have any hot sauce in this house. I'm just watching. This is great.
So the Reaper, someone said, do the Reaper. Here's the deal. I moved recently, and the Reaper got termite poison. So I lost all my hot sauce, and I'm starting to rebuy my hot sauce.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was reading a super chat by Aaron Butler. I think it's funny. He just keeps coming in about the Ravens Jets. Like, but we're talking about hot sauce. Are you even there? Like, you don't have any comments about hot sauce? Like Baltimore. If you live in Baltimore, do they have hot sauce in Baltimore? It's weird that he's just going on as if we were talking about the Jets and the Ravens game.
I think he's like a robot. I think he's kind of almost like if Jets Forever was a Ravens fan.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. We love Jets Forever.
Like, he never reacts to what's going on. It's like, you're part of the chat now, Aaron Butler. Like, talk about it. Like, do you think it's weird that we're eating hot sauce? I mean, like,
Aaron Butler remains the only person blocked from my channel. So sorry, Aaron.
I have Reaper, but I'm not doing it for 150. I have to think about it. I have to think about like when this show's over, like for the future, I have to think about what it would take to do the Reaper. I promptly, we do it for the other channel. We do a little bit of it, and it's like very, very serious. And I'd have to be prepared with like coolants and stuff. It's a very big deal to do the Reaper. Like
literally knocked me off the show. Not a quarter. I did a quarter, then I did a half, and then I left. So
yeah.
Hey, someone's talking about horseradish. I want to talk about non-football right now. My apologies. My wife, for my birthday, bought me a $750 of horseradish vodka. 3 days I finished that puppy. Kept it in the freezer. Oh my God, it's so good. Horseradish vodka.
Elmo Charlie. That's really funny. Oh yeah. Look at this. This is how you got me back, Buffalo. Were you listening on Friday when I was doing that?
Yeah. I caught a couple times when I dropped in the chat. You were like,
I was trying to suck you in. I was trying to suck you in to defend yourself. And what was really funny was that somebody in the chat was like, "Man, I didn't know they didn't get along." And I was like, "Jesus Christ." Okay, so where were we? I'm losing focus. Somebody's got to pull the show together because right now my mouth is on fire. So
yeah, I'm starting to get over it. So I don't know that I have a show pulling.
It definitely impacted one brother significantly more than the other.
It's always been like that. It's always been like that. If you go to Cravat Attack and watch our videos, it's always me. Like Lee got kicked him. Lee only had to leave the show because he did more and I didn't. But from the initial taste that we do, no one is a bigger wuss than me. Even our guests, we get guests that come on, and I'm always the wuss.
You're not a wuss. You're not a wuss because you always do it. That's not a wuss. You just react pretty darn bad. That's why I said I would do this one alone, if you want, man.
I didn't get to say, Eric, I want to say something about Eric Craig. I'm going to talk about you right now, Eric Craig, living in Texas. Eric Craig was top 5 subscriber to the channel, without question. I go back to Eric Craig all the way to Frankie's channel. We had a conversation one night when I was at your house in San Diego late Thanksgiving, and I was streaming from Frankie's channel, and Eric Craig and I talked for like 40 minutes as I sipped some of the scotch that you gave me. So
Eric Craig, scotch.
Thank you for being an
21-year-old scotch, buddy boy.
Yep. Thank you for riding this train with me, Eric Craig. It's been a hell of a ride so far. So. Buffalo was answering a question earlier. Was that ever finished? Something on drops. Okay, yeah, let's talk about the drops. I mean, we were talking. Do you think Salah's doing something in camp and addressing it? Do you think he notices, like, is he saying not this again? Do you think is it us, or do you think when these things are happening, like last year, all the drops, and then you see this happen yesterday, is this something they talk about in the locker room? Like, that's a big deal, you think? Do you think this is one of the priorities? Like, if they had listed priorities of what they have to work on, where do you think they are and what's going on in the locker room behind the scenes, Buffalo?
Yeah, I mean, the drops, Salah, again, he kind of made a little bit of an excuse about it yesterday. To me, I know he's a player's coach, so maybe he just is the kind of coach that has his players back with the media and then is a little bit more like terse or disciplinarian behind the scenes. I would have liked them to say, you know what, it's unacceptable. We got to do better. You can say that, coach. You don't have to say anybody's name. You can say dropping 5 passes when the quarterback threw 19 of them is completely unacceptable. That's dropping more than a fourth of your passes, or not coming down with catchable balls, because only 3 of them were drops. And we've talked about it on the show a bunch of times last year. A drop is just such a devastating play to an offense. Because it kills. It's almost like giving up a sack. You have a drop on you have 3 shots to get a first down. Maybe one of them is a run, then you drop one, and now you're cutting your chances down, and it kills momentum. It kills chemistry. So I think it's probably a positional coach thing, like the wide receivers and the tight ends coach know about it. And someone also asked, is it on Zach Wilson? Is he putting the ball in the wrong spot? I think there were times in the beginning of last year where Zach Wilson just didn't have a change up. Like there would be a check down 5 yards in front of him and he fired off the guy's chest. Or like timing routes when a guy's just about to turn around and it does need to be coming 100 miles an hour. There were some of those, but to me, 90% of it is on the pass catchers. The ball touches your hands, catch the ball.
Yeah, so I have never coached football. Hey, I barely played football, but I used to manage a lot of people at work, and people would make mistakes. And what I learned 20 years doing this is that some people, you've got to punish them. They respond when you punish them, and they never do it again, and they end up improving incredibly. Other people, you punish them, they're already punishing themselves. It just puts them further in the hole, kills their confidence, right? And they just can't get it back. For those people, you got to know who they are. You got to know they know, and you got to get them past it as soon as possible. You got to actually pump up their confidence. So, I mean, this guy's a coach. He must know how to do those things.
Yeah, no, I think that you definitely coach individuals individually. Like you have to like understand how each player responds to things. That was a great thing. And me and Lee grew up watching Parcells, both for the Giants and then the Jets. I mean, we grew up in New York watching Giants and Jet games our whole lives. And we always agreed, we would always talk about coaching and how important the coach is in football. And the one thing about Parcells is he knew how to push the buttons for each player. And it didn't always look the same. Like he definitely worked with Lawrence Taylor and Phil Simms differently than he did other players. And it was something that we had noticed and thought was, I always thought that was brilliant. And it's funny because even in fictional TV shows like Star Trek, right, with Picard, like you could see like who they made this great leader of a ship. It's funny though. It's true. He treats everybody differently on that ship. He has different expectations, different relationships. And I'm just saying it as a point, like leadership. And because I study this really hard as, a leader in my school, that you have to know your people. You have to get to know them. It's building relationships and understanding them. And, for one player, making them do 20 laps might be the effective way of doing it. For another player, you might just get in their head and push them deeper underwater and get in their head more. So you have to figure out each player and what brings out the best in them. And that's what great leaders do. So we'll see. It's more than just being liked and respected. So we'll see if Saleh can go to that next step and really be able to do the right thing for each player.
And catching is a thing, you're not just going to magically get better. Either you find the confidence or whatever it is and correct it or you don't. So I think it's a super psychological thing. These guys don't know how to catch the ball.
Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, what do? Do you get machines? Like they have those machines. I see guys working out where it shoots at 80 miles per hour. Like, I don't know, but like, they're going to have to figure it out. So a lot of people trying to blame Zach and say he only throws at one speed. I don't know about that. I mean, you want him to whiz it in there. It's the NFL. You can't give the defenders time to react. The receivers are NFL receivers. They're paid a lot of money. They're supposed to be the best in the world. The expectation is, I don't care how hard the ball comes in, you're going to catch it. Yeah. Don't miss the second hot sauce. No, you didn't miss the second hot sauce, luckily. Don't bring it up anymore because
we're at 80. We're at 84. Jeremy, you look like you're ready I'm ready for the next one.
No way. Luckily, everyone ran out of money, apparently, because I think we're safe because we haven't gotten the super chat. I think everybody's done, which is fair enough. We ate the hot sauce. Don't give any more. No more donations required. We're perfectly happy to stop at 84.
I haven't opened this yet. This is still sealed, so
good. Let's keep it sealed. Okay, that's crazy. Who's egghead number 2? Laughing out loud. Well, he's not bald, but he has the same shaped head as me. That's my brother Lee Cravat, which is basically the answer to any question. By the way, Jets Mess will tell you that, or Eminon will tell you that the answer to any question, any trivia question in the world is Lee Cravat.
But Jeremy is actually the shrink.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Look at this. They're trying to get it going again. These guys are just ridiculous. Okay. I hate you guys. You're going to make me do this hot sauce, maybe. I can't. Oh, my God. Novcraft, what are you doing to me? Look, here we go. Answer, Lee Cravat. That's what he's doing to me, Lee Cravat. Anytime you ask a question, it's a good answer. Buster Poindexter likes it hot, hot, hot. As funny as the comments with the Super Chats aren't even football related. They stopped asking questions. They just want to see us suffer. That brings us to 86, $14 away from having to eat the Carnival hot sauce, which is the triple bonnet pepper? What do they call it?
Scotch bonnet.
Scotch bonnet pepper. I like the Scotch in the name. I like the Scotch. That's a good name for a pepper. But my God.
It's got Scotch bonnet, Fatali, Maruga Scorpion. Ouch.
Yeah. Hey, Flacco is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's won
Yeah.
a Super Bowl. He's led his team to a here we go. Hold on, I got to get it. Porn attack.
I want to see them do some hot sauce. Yeah.
I got it. Okay. Did I get it all? Yeah, I think I got it all. Have you gotten any of this porn spam on your channel, Buffalo?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Okay. It's actually, as much as annoying as it is, it's a compliment. Oh, Mark, come on, Mark. Come on. Jeez, Mark, you're a teacher. You're a teacher. You pay rent. Oh, and look at Thomas is just making it worse, like to rub salt. He didn't even make a comment. What is that? A fire? He didn't even bother to make a comment. Oh, man.
You know what the comment is.
Before I did. All right, well, we're over 100. Easy.
Well over
111. 111.
Oh, Thomas, what are you doing to me? Did anybody notice but me that Zach? Oh, he actually has a question. Wait a second. Did anybody notice but me? Zach was constantly stepping up when pressured. Isn't that a good thing, right? Because last year he was running to the sideline. Like, is it a good thing that he was stepping up when pressured, Kevin? Sorry, Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can call me by my given name. It's all good.
How dare you?
It's funny. There's definitely people. Well, most of my subscribers for sure, and definitely people I've talked to multiple times. Even like when I'll hop on, like with Jake Asman, who we've talked a bunch, and he's like, "What's going on, Buffalo?" Because he doesn't know my name at this point, so it's all good. Yeah, that's a great point. I think last year we saw Zach Wilson bail and roll out right, and that led to a lot of throwaways. And in not even mobile quarterbacks, obviously we know Tom Brady is the king of the little. You shuffle up, you shimmy. Ben Roethlisberger, always good at that. Yeah, you got to step up into the pocket and make tough throws. Oh, we got more money coming in too.
What? We're already there, buddy.
No, 111. There's no. Oh.
It's like they're trying to get us to the Reaper. Even though we didn't agree to that.
We didn't say anything about the Reaper. We're over. You pour yet?
Yeah, hold on. I appreciate it. Let me read this. 100 and red faces to watch. How do you think the Jets will use their tight ends per player? Different use of Conklin, Usama, Rucker. What do you think are the strengths, weaknesses of these players? Okay, we're going to talk about the tight end position. I think we should do the hot sauce first.
Yeah, because I want to see you talk after having a teaspoon of Carnival.
Oh my God. This is the amount I put on a turkey sandwich, and I have to fight through it to eat it. Okay, guys. I'll see you on the other side. Ready, Lee? Are you eating it right now?
I'm about to, but I'm spilling.
Okay. Ready at the same time?
Yes.
Look. What did you say? I got seeds. Seeds. There were seeds. There were seeds. There were seeds. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh my God, they took Sauce Gardner.
Oh, that's hot.
Oh.
Hey, Jeremy, I think you need to talk about the tight ends.
Okay. I think Conklin is winning the starting job. I think Conklin's going to win the starting job because people didn't realize how good he was. If you look at him last year for Minnesota, he's gotten better every year, and he creates a crazy matchup when he moves into the slot. He has great hands. He's really hard to match up against. I think that he's a good blocker, too, which is good. He's well-rounded. And CJ...
Jeremy, if you just listened to you and didn't watch you think you'd clicked on one of those links that were sent into the chat.
He did really good, too. I can't say it anymore. I got all my milk.
Oh, man.
Buffalo, you're going to have to talk.
Okay. All right. Tight ends.
Conklin.
Yeah, I agree with Jeremy that Conklin is emerging as tight end one. So what are the strengths and skills? The thing is, they're all pretty well rounded. We don't really have like our receiving tight end and our blocking tight end. I think that Tyler Conklin, what separates him, it's not needed that often, but he's maybe the best pass blocking tight end in the NFL besides George Kittle. So he did that, on like 10% of his snaps last year. 98 snaps, he was asked to pass block. They put him alone, one-on-one against defensive ends, which is like you're breaking a rule. You're never supposed to do that, but he held up there. Conklin's got the best hands in terms of drop rate. And CJ gives you a little bit more as a run blocker. And CJ actually gives you a little bit more yak, because if you look at their numbers, Conklin has better yak numbers. But when you watch the games,
don't say yak.
Conklin has better yak, hurl, puke numbers. But that was because Minnesota really did a good job getting him the ball in wide open space off heavy play action last year, and he had the speed to kind of take advantage of that. But Uzama is better at making people miss after the catch and breaking tackles. And I think there's definitely some chemistry between Zach and Conklin. I don't think we should necessarily just make it like a 50-50 split. Like if Conklin is cooking, and CJ Uzama is kind of a backup or in there at 12 personnel, that's fine. And then Ruckert, I don't know. I really don't know what his role is going to be. I think he's tight end 3. Could he do some H-back like Trevon Wesco did last year? I don't see why not. He could do a little bit of fullback, but I would keep Nick Bawden. So, yeah, I think that's how the tight ends will roll out this year. Conklin, far and away, I think the best passing threat.
I'm excited about Ruckert. I can't wait to see what he does. And we have no idea right now, right? But it's exciting. See what happens.
I think he deserves a year to develop. It's good that he gets to develop and is not pressured.
Yeah, and if you think last year, if you put like this for rookie Jeremy Ruckert on the 2021 Jets, he's probably tight end 1. All right, now he doesn't have a lot of reps as a pass catcher, but we know he's gonna be a willing blocker. He'll do the dirty work.
It's not peer pressure. I think I made I made some money. No, are you talking about the other chat people are giving into peer pressure?
So I've hit the burn turn. It's now peaked for me.
My nose is starting to run. You see, I made the mistake.
I have a nose run tissue and a forehead tissue.
It got to my lip.
Yeah. You're gonna need a diarrhea tissue in about 45 minutes, dude. I'll tell you that.
It got to my lip. It got to my lip.
You're a lip licker. That's because you're a lip licker.
I'm a lip licker, and now it hurts.
Lee looks better than he did before. Like, I don't know, his was medicinal, and Jeremy is dying. You guys must have taken two very different things. Lee is getting younger as the stream goes on. He's looking vital.
I'm getting a nice.
Lee is like Benjamin Button, and he's like suckling the very life. There's like some sort of brother. Shared soul where you're just like suckling the very life out of Jeremy and becoming stronger.
Man. I'm taking his youth from him.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Voldemort.
It's not just you, Harlan. Jeremy's face is incredibly red. And I love how half the chat, it's like 2/3 of the chat is just hyping up the hot sauce. And there's like a third of the chat that just kind of wants to talk Jets.
Hey, I was excited. Did Mims catch one?
He did. He caught a 15-yard pass from Joe Flacco with the second team offense. To me, he's wide receiver 5, and he's getting work on special teams. I think if he's not traded, he makes the team. I don't see him just being flat out cut over Jeff Smith. I know Jeff Smith is a better special teamer than Denzel Mims, but he had the dropsies last year. And I know he's a training camp superstar, but I would take Denzel Mims over Jeff Smith in a heartbeat. If that's who it comes down to. I would take Mims over Jeff Smith all day.
Hell yeah.
It's not even close. It's not even close.
Not even close. It would be the dumbest thing in the world. Jeff Smith has a history of dropping the ball every year. Denzel had one bad year, and he's having a great camp.
I just think he could be. I still think he could be someone. I really do.
Yeah, that dream. So to me, after his rookie year, I'm like, okay, we got a really good like wide receiver 2. That dream to me is probably faded a bit after last year. But he's not going to be like out of the league. He's going to have a career as an NFL wide receiver, whether it's with the Jets or somewhere else. I think, to me, for him, his talent, I think the floor for him is like hanging around as a wide receiver 4 somewhere. I think eventually he could he'll still be able to do that. That's probably, him being a wide receiver 1, like some people thought out of college, like a 2 after his rookie year with the Jets. Probably not anymore, but he's an NFL level talent at wide receiver. I just can't unsee him doing it as a rookie. Like if last year was his first year and that's all we knew, I'd be like, oh my God, he's a bust, like huge failure. And no, he wasn't Justin Jefferson, but he averaged 45 receiving yards a game as a rookie for an awfully quarterbacked and awfully coached team.
Yeah.
So, and he's not a system fit. Dude, system fit is the most overrated thing in football. Point blank. Give me talent, and then coaches figure it out. That's what it is to me. Oh, but we run a wide zone blocking. Can the guy block? Like, especially when you're talking about premier talent and first and second round picks. Just get me the talented guys, and coaches coach them up how to fit what you're trying to do. And if they're not fitting what you're trying to do, if they're talented enough, can you find packages where you can cater to their skill set? Because to me, if you can't do that, then I don't know what coaching is if it's not that.
Agreed.
What'd you say?
I'm past it. I'm past the sauce.
I have 2 members. I have 2 snackers. I didn't even talk about it. I have you could join and become a chaos snacker for the price of a cup of coffee. I stole that from you, Buffalo.
You had me snort, man. Snort. And the
price
snort is hot sauce snort. It did not feel good.
For the price of a cup of coffee a month, you can become a snacker. If you want to pay a little bit more, you can get special benefits. Like you can, I don't know, you can have your own private stream with me. You get to be on with me privately. You get to have private chats. You get to be on my show. You could be here right now watching me eat hot sauce. You get I forgot what it is. If you hit the join button, it'll give you the information. It's right next to the subscribe button. But be a snacker. Join the snackers. Zachary Burner, I don't know who you are, but welcome to the chats. And yes, you're new. Welcome, Zachary. I love the name Zachary because if you shorten it, it's Zach, and that's my favorite quarterback. Zach threw a 67-mile-per-hour thing in practice. And yes, he's got a gun, man. He's got a gun. And he's awesome. I love him. But if you don't know Zachary, I just had some very, very, very hot sauce. So I'm not myself. So I apologize. Eric Craig just goes on like normal and talks football because he's seen this all from me and it's just not new to him.
I like seeing Iowa out there, man. Woohoo!
Iowa, baby. He missed the whole thing. Iowa, they just broke $100 in super chats. So me and my brother had to eat this incredibly hot sauce. The only thing I'm worried about right now is I know exactly how the conversation is going to go later on with my brother, and it's going to be now we have to have higher levels.
Yeah,
we have to up the ante.
We do have to up the ante.
This is the warm up version.
If we had a $200 sauce, like if we had a $250, if we had think of a crazy sauce. If we had a crazy sauce.
The last dab.
I mine got ruined. I got to buy a new bottle. But yeah.
Oh, we got a new member. Welcome, Knobcraft, the newest snacker. I'm so glad you joined. Thank you, friend. I appreciate that. You know, when you become a light snacker, the entry level, you definitely get different emoticons. And remember, you do get chat priority too. Like when I see guys that I see are members, I always make sure I do my best to highlight your chats because you're special members. You're helping me out. Like the membership, being a snacker really helps because that's like a steady income per month that allows me to like figure out what investments I can make. For example, I want to upgrade the quality of this stream and have more people who can come in and run and moderate the stream, and that costs more money with StreamYard. So now I could take these super chats and this membership money and invest it towards things like that. So I appreciate it.
Hey, for folks that like seeing Jeremy red, I just want to say we are on another channel with our brother Matthew, and the three of us have very hot sauces, and we rate them by heat and taste. And if you want to go over to Crevat Attack, one word, Crevat Attack, there's like 20 episodes out there to watch, and Jeremy gets red in almost every one of them, and we're going to start doing them live.
Dom C wanted, you could be helping right now. I don't know why you're not here. I don't know. I'm sorry. I burped up a little in my throat. It hurt. I don't know why you're not here, Dom C. I could use you right now so I could get a break and have you talk. Ow. I got like a little heartburn already.
Yeah, the belly's the worst. Okay.
Yeah.
Jets.
Okay, Jets. So we were talking tight ends. I just wanted to say that I think Jeremy Ruckert is the future. I really do. But I wouldn't be surprised unless there's an injury if we don't see a lot of them. Like, it's not going to surprise me if we don't see that much of Jeremy Ruckert.
I think ideally we don't, because that means Conklin and Uzama are healthy.
Yeah.
And that means Nick Bawden's on the team. I think that, like, a real fullback, I think will be appreciated in this offense. Now, here's the one thing I'll say about Jeremy Ruckert in the fullback role. Someone asked me this and I didn't know, so I asked somebody who knows football better than me. I sent a message to Joe Blewett, and I was like, "Hey, Joe Blewett, can Jeremy Ruckert do fullback things?" And he was like, "I addressed this in my 17-hour film breakdown." And I'm like, "Dude, but come on, I know, but just tell me, come on, just give me the straight answer." And the answer was basically kind of like when they're on like outside runs where he's meeting people at the second level out in space, yes. But to run these like whams and traps and traditional fullback blocks, that's going to be a lot to ask of the rookie tight end. And there's a reason why you don't see 6'5" fullbacks. It's kind of just like a running back. You want that low center of gravity to kind of navigate those short windows. But the thing is, what they did with Bawden a decent amount last year in Tampa Bay and Miami game down the stretch, they put Nick Bawden, they did like an H-back motion, and they put him in the slot as a blocker. And then there was a couple times they decoyed and they threw to him for like a 20-yard gain on one play. And Jeremy Ruckert would be an upgrade in that role because he's so much more of a passing threat. So they would have Bawden in the slot, and they would either do like a tunnel screen and he'd be blocking out there. They do like a pitch play and so now you have Nick Bawden blocking like like a nickel corner out there or a safety. And now with Jeremy Ruckert, that would really add to that fake level. Like if you're faking a screen to Elijah Moore and Jeremy Ruckert's going to set that lead block, and all of a sudden it's a pump fake, and now you got Jeremy Ruckert running deep. That is definitely something that we could utilize in this offense for sure.
So I agree. Talking Jets to Tico, I'd like him to get some snaps. Like let's think optimistically, not if we're down by 30 points. If we're up by a few touchdowns, like it's the fourth quarter, we're running the ball, we're up. The game is no longer in doubt. We got a nice lead. There's 8-10 minutes left in the game. We're controlling the line of scrimmage. I wouldn't mind seeing Ruckert come in, block a bit, get snaps that way. Start him off that way for the first couple of appearances as a blocking tight end. Maybe let him run. We probably in that situation wouldn't be doing much route running. But then maybe if that goes well and he gets more comfortable on the field, maybe in a game that we're behind, bring him in and and have him run routes and try to pass to him. I just don't, there's not a lot of reason to use him that much unless he's so good. I mean, they're seeing him in practice. If he's incredible and it's going to make the team better, then you have to use him. But, it just seems like we have two very good tight ends, and we have this opportunity to really develop him well and do it the right way. And the right way is to let him get experience in practice and get used to the speed of the game and not have him be rushed to the field where he has failure. But, I mean, he's a good blocker. So I think he could step right in and do that right away. I just don't see any reason to rush it. That's all.
So a few snaps is good, but relying on a rookie, bad.
Very bad.
Yeah, and he's gonna get out there because essentially, even though he's tight end 3, he's really just one injury away from being on the field because we run 2 tight ends. That's a decent amount. So even if if Uzama has to miss a game, it's not like he's multiple injuries away from getting on the field. He'll get on the field a bit. I think if you look at a lot of tight end 3s around the league, rarely do they crack 10 catches. So if Jeremy Ruckert goes out there and catches 12, 15 balls and 1 or 2 of them are a touchdown, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm. That'd be cool. I mean, look, I guess it's good to get him some snaps too, because you want him to get some experience, right? Like, we don't want him next year to be like a rookie year. Like, it would be great. I just want it to be on our terms and not on somebody got hurt terms.
Yeah, I agree with Buffalo. What we really want to see is the two tight ends that are proven play well for us.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough too, because it's not like defensive line. I don't know. We'll see. I think Tyler Conklin's going to earn himself 11 personnel, a vast majority of the snaps, but it's a good thing. It's overall a good thing. But I don't know if you told me in 2024 the Jets tight end 1 is Jeremy Ruckert. I'm not shocked by that.
If we were to do some to answer Nob's question, if we were to do something with like putting a guy out of position at fullback, like for a power yard or something, my choice is Michael Clemens. Like, I want to see like a fridge situation where you put Michael Clemens in at fullback. Michael Clemens doesn't want to get tackled. He's not going to get tackled. He's going to get a yard. He's going to just, knock people backwards, but they'll never do it.
No, Rex Ryan used to do that with Sheldon Richardson sometimes. Remember that?
Yeah, I do. It's always the weird thing. It's like because if that means you need a new fullback. If you have to bring in your defensive lineman to act like a fullback, why not just have a good fullback?
Well, sometimes Rex would do shit just to be different. Like, let's be honest. I mean, we all love Rex, but sometimes he just like to have fun.
Yeah, that's true.
So I know you've covered it before, but just I'm interested. Who do you think we would cut? Who's going to get cut off the team? We're talking about carrying a lot of people at every position. Every time we talk about a position, we're going to carry everyone. So who's going to be the most painful cut?
Bowden. Okay, Bowden. I love, the greatest part about me doing this channel is I'm learning how to pronounce names I never would have ever learned how to pronounce. It's Bowden. Okay. I'll answer that, Lee. I think that it's another one of those good problem to have kind of answers. This is the first time in a long time. I mean, we were stressing over who we cut at running back last year and thought that was painful. Like, oh, I like that guy. Why are we letting him go? This year is going to be brutal, but that's a great thing because it means we have a really good roster and a deeper roster, because we're going to have to cut legitimate football players. Guys, a year ago, we never would have dreamed of cutting. So that, to me, it's an incredible problem, but yeah, it's going to be painful. There are going to be some painful cuts. In the safety position, someone's getting cut. How many safeties are they going to hold? There's some cornerbacks that we used to be in love with, guys like there's this guy Wild Goose, right? He's showing all this potential, and Dunn, who's showing some potential. These are not guys we could throw them on this practice squad and hope they survive, but these are not guys we're going to be able to secure and protect on a 53-man roster.
No, we've heard all throughout this offseason, we're going to have to cut good players. But I don't know how many really good players we're going to have to cut. to be honest, I like where the roster's at. And it's been a complete turnaround. But when we look at it, I don't know how many really good players we're going to have to cut. To me, probably if you told me, if you asked me to pick who's the best player that I think it's most likely gets cut that could actually have a pretty good role with another team, I think you're probably talking about one guy, and it's probably going to be on the defensive line, and I think it might be Vinny Curry. I think if I think they might keep 11 defensive linemen. They're going to keep a lot of guys. So to me, Vinny Curry could be a guy. Tevin Coleman, if Bam Knight looks like he could be running back 3, Tevin Coleman could get picked up and be a running back 3 somewhere. And then to me, guys like, Jabari Zuniga, Tanzel Smart, like they're gone. I don't know how much they're going to provide elsewhere. Elijah Riley, safety, he's probably gone. I think they keep Ashton Davis just because who are you keeping over him? You got Whitehead, Joyner, Pinnock, and then after that, Philly Will Parks. If they're just going to go straight up who's the best player, Will Parks makes his team over Ashton Davis. But people don't like to cut third-round draft picks unless they have really good reason to. So Ashton Davis probably makes it as like the 4th safety just because of his upside and his draft pedigree. Bryce Huff is not getting cut. That is just not happening. Bryce Huff
it would be nuts. It would be nuts to cut him.
Bryce Huff is a demon off the edge. He is really, really impressive. And his speed is elite. They have stats for that, like the get off. He's got like the top 5 fastest get off in the league. And then Carl Lawson said he's got the best bend on the team. Yep. So, man, situationally, I don't know. If you told me, okay, it's like 3rd and 8, who are the 2 defensive ends you're going to put out there? Assuming JFM is inside and assuming obviously one of them is Carl Lawson, if Bryce Huff is healthy like he was at the beginning of last year, I don't know if my other answer isn't Bryce Huff, even over a guy like Jacob Martin or Jermaine Johnson or Vinny Curry or Solomon Thomas.
That would be bold. That's a bold statement. That's a bold statement, but it's not impossible because if he's healthy, he was looking really good.
Yeah, he was looking incredible. Now, the back injury, he came back. He didn't look the same at all. So that's concerning. His back injuries are always something to worry about. We've seen it with guys like Quincy Enunwa. On my Mets side, with guys like David Wright, anything with the spine. But coming back, he looked good. At the scrimmage yesterday, I saw there was a few passing highlights. Even the first touchdown to Conklin where, we're all focused on that. It's a great route. It's a great throw. But if you guys go back and watch that clip, you'll see Bryce Huff just dispose of the backup right tackle, and he's in the backfield immediately. So I'm really that's the guy I'm overhyping. How Max Mitchell or how Tigo is on Max Mitchell? That's me with Bryce Huff. I know I'm overrating him, but that's where I'm at. I really believe it.
So here's why I don't think, Mark Reese, that we will cut Corey Davis. If Corey Davis has a very good year, if he's like anything between 800 and 1,000 yards, and has like 5 to 7 touchdowns, there's no way we're cutting him. He cost us $12.5 million in today's market. That's a bargain. Like, there's just no way they're going to cut a guy that's such a good deal if he's good. Now, if he has a 500-yard season, then maybe you're right. But there's no way. Unless we would never cut him. Because if he has a really good year, let's say he gets like 850, 900 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns because the ball's spread out a lot and everybody does good. But he plays really well. You don't think there's a team that would trade for him before we cut him, even with the $12.5 million contract?
Yeah, someone would rent him.
Would trade for him. You can't cut him.
No. The only way we cut Corey Davis, to me, is if he's injured again. And we don't know if we can trust him to be reliable. Even if he has the drops again. Even if he has the drops, he's still worth $12 million for the plays he can make and the volume of production he could give you. We don't want to see the drops. If he has the drops again, he's not getting extended, and 2023 is probably his last year as a Jet. But even the version of Corey Davis we saw last year, if we get that for, at least 14, 15 games, you got to bring him back at that number.
Yep. JFU, welcome to the chat. Just so you know, I made you a moderator. If you want to put the links to any of the articles that we've been writing in, you can. The Jets Joint, that is the name of our space where we are posting articles. My first article just got published today, and JFU has one up there as well. So he's a moderator. He could put the link up, but if you go to jetsjoint.com, you can find the content yourself. Just wanted to throw that in there. Yeah, look, you said that you could see the only guy being productive is a defensive lineman. Now, I disagree with that, and I'll tell you why. If we keep 11 guys there, we might only have to go, at most we can hold 4 safeties, and some people are predicting we can only hold 3 safeties. Now, if we only hold 3 safeties, who are you going to cut, Ashton Davis or Pinnock? A lot of people don't think Ashton Davis is a good player. I think it's way too early in his career to say he's not a good player. I think he could still develop into a good player. I think there were things that he does well. I think Pinnock has a good little small sample. It's too small. He's a little bit of a question mark, but he shows some promise. So I'm talking about guys like that, like Elijah Riley. How is he going to make the team? Will Parks has been looking great in camp. How are we going to hold on to him in the secondary? I feel like there's going to be guys that we have to cut that have promise. They're not established great players. I admit that, but they're well established. They're guys that, and maybe this is a problem I have as a Jets fan. Maybe we do that too much. We hold on to all these hopes of guys that could be good, and we have to let go of that and just keep the guys that are good. And if they work out somewhere else and they're good, fine, let it be, and stop worrying about it. I don't know.
What you just said, that was it. That's what you have to do. You only get to keep so many guys.
Yeah.
I mean, we have been the beneficiary of guys like Braxton Berrios and Quincy Williams getting cut. So there's no reason to think that necessarily guys could go somewhere else and they develop a little later and it's a new system and it just works out. I guess in terms of like proven guys who it's like, man, we know what this guy can do. Like we know Vinny Curry can set the edge and give you 5 sacks, and all teams in the NFL could use a guy like that. Or Tevin Coleman. Like Tevin Coleman is, from what he showed last year, there's probably a couple of teams, maybe a handful, like the Atlanta Falcons. Is he running back too? Tevin Coleman could be that guy as well. We'll see. The roster is definitely in much better shape. We got a super chat coming in talking about Corey Davis and Mims. I'll let you address the super chat, Jeremy, because it's a pretty generous one.
Yeah, I got locked. So hold on one second. I'm having some trouble here. I don't know if it's because there's some spam. Can one of my moderators delete it? Hide the user if you can, please. If you see the spam in there, I don't see it. I see it in one place, but not the other. It's kind of weird. J.E. Allen, thank you so much. J.E. He's donating like he thinks we're going to eat more hot sauce.
You ain't got no more.
We're like well over. We're almost at 150. What are we going to do if we hit 150? Mims is younger and has better hands. Oh, so this was in response, I'm sure, to the Smith conversation we were having, and or Corey Davis. But when I say that we're not going to cut Corey Davis, what I mean is, if Mims is excellent also, and we don't want to pay Corey Davis, we would trade him, because a $12.5 million receiver that gets over 900 yards, that shows real talent in today's market, is a really, really good deal. So there are teams that would jump at that to take Corey Davis at $12.5 million based on what's happened in the market. If he has a good year, like if he's looking really good, if he's not dropping the ball, if he's making a lot of, good touchdown passes, reliable target, good third down target, if he's doing some good things this year, there's no way we cut him. We might trade him because we say, hey, we have Denzel Mims who looks really good also. That's what we would see, but we wouldn't just part ways with Corey Davis and get nothing for it. That's my point.
Don't you think the Giants would rather have Corey Davis for $12 million than Kenny Golladay for 19?
I think so.
Kenny Golladay played 14 games last year and he had 37 catches and no touchdowns.
No. But Jay Allen, I want to thank you for this very generous super chat. It's really nice of you to do that, so I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
But he's not wrong. He's not wrong in that it could be a more efficient route to keep the younger Denzel Mims, or you could keep them. You could keep them both. And you could just be really deep, and there's no reason why you can't keep them both for one more year, and then you let Corey Davis walk in 2023, and then in 2024, Mims is ready to take over. You don't have, once you have like a depth at a position, you don't have to start panicking and giving it away like Tego wants to do with Bryce Hall. Tego wants to give away Bryce Hall. DJ Reed's got a hammy. It was pretty nice to have Bryce Hall out there yesterday at the scrimmage, wasn't it?
Well, you guys are right. This is a great problem to have. This should be our problem from now on. We have too many players that other teams want to keep them all.
Right. It would be a great problem to continue to have, and that's what we're hoping. We're hoping that It's what all great teams that sustain have to deal with. The Steelers had to deal with it for years. New England had to deal with it for years. The Ravens had to deal with it for years. Green Bay has to deal with it. These are what good winning teams have to deal with. How do we keep drafting good? How do we keep them? Now, New England had a little bit of an easier time because they cheated and paid Tom Brady by buying his stupid products, but that's a whole nother story.
Hey, my brother, I gotta make dinner, and you got some sex problems on your chat right now.
Okay,
I'm gonna take off.
Okay, I gotta get rid of this.
I gotta get some half and half in my system.
All right, somebody got rid of him. I think it was, who was it? Proud New York Jets fan is in the house, and he managed to get rid of the. Good job, proud New York Jets fan. Thank you so much for taking care of that for me. Take care, Lee. I guess there's going to be no more hot sauce eaten today. That's
no.
good.
Next time.
Okay. But thank you very much, J.E. Allen. Thank you, Lee, for being on. I want to say before you go, I'm glad everybody got a chance to meet you again and get reacquainted. The season's getting closer. We're going to be doing some watch parties, even for preseason games. So you're going to get to see me and Lee. We don't really get to see us do Jet games because I do that with Green Bean. So this, for the preseason, you're going to get to see me do some watch party games with Lee. But during the season, we do the late games. And it's a lot of fun because if you want to make it interesting to watch San Francisco play the Rams, because that's not normally something you're into, you can hang out with us. And we are really funny and have great conversation. And we'll talk with you and we'll watch the game together. And we'll make interesting observations and all that jazz. And we'll eat hot sauce.
All right. Ciao.
Take care, Lee. It was good to meet you.
You too. Hello.
So Harry says we're going to keep 4 safeties, but we're going to have to let someone go somewhere, Harry. Harry. We're going to be hanging out with Harry in the hangar, aren't we? Harry in the hangar.
Oh, the sex bots are back again.
Again? Boy, am I popular, huh? Oh, no, it was deleted though already.
Nice. Quick work in the chat.
Somebody's doing quick work. That was Grandizer who got rid of that one. Way to go, Grandizer. You guys got my back. Love you guys. It must be Iowan. He must be doing something. It's like the guy comes around and it's like you can't get rid of the porno sites. It's ridiculous. Okay. What's funny is it's going to become a real thing. Like we're really going to be blaming. Like, you know how things just starts out as a joke and then within, like in a year from now, it's like all spread around YouTube that Iowa Jets fan creates the spam.
Yes, he is the spam.
Proud New York Jets fan says, when it comes to porn, I'm pretty quick. That's what she said. Okay. Eric says, good night, Lee. Nice seeing you again. Let's do this again soon. Yeah, we'll be back. Lee will be back on the channel regularly. You're going to see a lot of him during the football season for sure. So don't worry about that. As a matter of fact, Lee's going to be doing the opening game by himself, and we're going to be calling in. I said that before, but for those of you who don't know that, game 1, I'll be at the game with Buffalo and a lot of others. So my brother's going to do the watch party, and we're going to call in. And I'm going to show the hangar and what it looks like and talk about the game and what everybody's doing. So that should be a good time. Anybody want to talk about football again? Just ask us a question. Now is the time because we're not getting a lot of football questions. Yes, Aaron, and I've said this many times and I'll say it again. We will, and we always do, break down the game afterwards, win or lose. It's not like if the Jets lose, we just go on and talk about the next week, and we don't talk about the game. We don't talk about if we lose, we definitely give credit to the other team by saying why we lost and what went wrong and who played well on the other team, and we definitely do all of that. So you don't have to worry that we're going to suddenly forget about the Ravens. We will that week break down the game, especially because we're going to be there in person, so we could talk about it from a different perspective from people who are not going to go talk. But for right now, we're going to have to go back to some other business because there's something I have to announce. You guys will like this, and it's just in time. Ladies and gentlemen, just when you thought it's over, there's no one else who can come in and save this show. Lee is gone. What are we going to do? Jeremy not himself because of the hot sauce. But it's not true. Please let me introduce the fact-finding player, analytical lunatic guy, three kids out on the Jets, yelling, Green Bee helping, Green Bee supporting, Chaos supporting, Buffalo Jet fan channel supporting, the greatest player, analysis guy in the world, Dom C.
It cracks me up every time. Every time, guys. How are you?
What's up, Dom?
We're
Hey,
good.
gents.
You're here
Hey,
just in
chat.
time.
I'm having some technical issues here. For some reason, my extender's not working in my office downstairs in the basement, so I'm chopped up in the living room. So, how you guys doing, man? Great show so far.
We are good. Thanks. Thanks. It got a little crazy with the hot sauce. but
Sure did, man. Sure did.
I can't
complain.
believe how well people. You know what, guys? I'm live tomorrow night, and I'm not going to get the 20% of this because I'm not drinking any hot. I got to figure out what can I do. What tricks do I have up my sleeve? I'm definitely willing to embarrass myself. I just know I don't have the tolerance for spicy. Man, well, I don't know. I got to learn like some magic tricks or something because the willingness to humiliate yourself is obviously far more valuable than anything we could ever say about our beloved New York Jets.
Well, the famous Todd Grossi does shots.
He does.
Right.
He does.
He does shots, but it's kind of crazy because this is ludicrous to me. I wouldn't expect anyone to ever do this. It's absolutely nuts. But I don't know where he finds these people, but I am not kidding. He has people give him like $100. He calls it a honey. Like, give me a hundy. And he gets it. Like, well, people give him $100 so he'll do a shot. It's absolutely outrageous.
Oh.
Yeah, but he doesn't got to be up at a normal job the next day.
I know.
That's his full-time gig.
Exactly. But who are these people that give $100 for a shot? Like, I want that life. I want to have that kind of bankroll. You know?
Wear your hat forwards.
Wear your hat forwards. Oh, like, no, maybe that's only if you give a super chat.
I just walked in the door. We get tickets. I get half a season to see the Somerset Patriots, which is the Yankees AA team, which is real local to me. It's about 15 minutes away. So whenever the Mets are up there, and Binghamton Rumble Ponies are there tonight, so we got to see them. Always go support the Mets whenever I can. So just getting home, man. Great day, great weather. I got my dog here. He's getting some loving, and I got the Jets, man. What's better than that?
That's it's been a good day for some of us. I don't know. I forget who you guys root for in baseball. It was a very good day and weekend for me. I'll say that.
Yeah, we're
Yes.
Mets fans here.
Yes.
Okay.
We're Buffaloes too. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, I was nervous in July. It's felt like same old Mets, but now they put some good distance between them and the Braves. And I think, how I feel about the Dolphins fan base, how I hate them, that's how I feel about the Braves over the past couple of years. So it's good to stick it to them.
Yeah. And
Grandizer. Let me find that so we can put that up to show people. So in the chat, you could find the link to where you could find Dom C's. Thank you for doing that, Grandizer. This is where you can find Dom C's great work. He writes a lot of articles on Green Bean's webpage. You guys should all check it out. The link is right there. You don't have to leave now, but cut and paste that link.
we got another interesting article coming out. Actually, it should be out tomorrow, as a matter of fact. And it's probably going to draw the ire of a lot of Jets fans. But I talk about if Dwayne Brown is the right move for the Jets. And if by chance he doesn't come, what options we have. Kind of dovetailed off of our last Sunday show when Jeremy and I talked about the whole swing tackle phenomenon, backup offensive tackle for the Jets. And I did some digging and I did some research and I think I'm happy with the article and I hope you guys enjoy it. and don't unfollow me because of my takes. That's all.
It's it takes a little bit of guts to put yourself out there. I actually was very, very conservative in my first article that I just put on Stadium Rent and the Jets joint, and it was more just about my draft experience. Because when I was writing for Green Bean and did quarterback things, I got attacked. I mean, this guy was so personal. He was like going after me and ruining my reputation, calling me a liar because he disagreed with something I wrote that was completely 100% an opinion.
Are you kidding me? I got a guy in my DMs on Twitter. I'm not gonna blow a spot up here, but I mean, at least 3 times a day, he comes at me whenever Sauce does anything good, saying, "Oh, you see, Sauce is better than Derek Stingley." And for the record, guys, I know it's a running joke. I didn't dislike Sauce.
Of course not. You had him ranked number 2.
I just happen to like Derek Stingley, but this guy will not leave it alone. Kind of like the Twitter rants that's going on right now with the whole Fireman Ed thing.
Yeah,
it's like, come on, people. So.
I didn't even understand what that was about. I went right in there and said, "Why are you saying mean things about another human being for no reason?" Like, I just didn't get it.
Yeah, even besides the Jets, it's like, I don't know, whatever. And I'm not here to like grade someone else's fandom. Oh, he's not a real fan. Dude, the Jets don't have bandwagon fans. The Jets don't have fair weather fans. You need to experience significant fair weather in order to be a fair weather fan. I don't know Fireman Ed personally. I don't know if he's a good guy. I know that he spent his career being the kind of guy that if you were in trouble and you called 911, he'd be there to help you. So to me, that carries a lot more weight than anything about football. So that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah. Right off the bat, how do you just on Twitter for no reason, not instigated, like that we could see, there was nothing that he ever wrote that we saw, just come out and write something? First of all, I mean, even if it was just any person, it just seems so unnecessary, right? Like, but the added mix to that, the variable is that to do it to a fireman, right, who was obviously active, I believe, when 9/11 happened, and surely whether, I don't know if he was retired yet or not, but surely lost people to 9/11. Surely, like, if he would have been on that call, and I grew up watching this guy and his passion, wearing the fireman's hat, there wasn't a fireman who refused to go into that building. So if he would have been on that call, on one of those trucks, or engines, as they say, he would have been running up the stairs to that building.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't do it to anybody. But to sit there and use the name Fireman Ed, he is a fireman. And that's what he did with his life. And we all got to see, all of us from New York specifically that grew up in that city, we got to live and learn from them what a real hero is. While everyone was running out of that building, they were running up. They ran into that building. They deserve any fireman, any firefighter. In California, believe me, I have it out here too, because these guys are running into these forest fires. They're staying up 20 hours straight, 24 hours straight. They leave their homes from all over California. They drive 8-10 hours. And they're dying. Some of them are dying on the job.
And not that it's the highlight of it, but for the salary they're making is, you know what I mean? Like, they're not in it for the money either.
Yeah,
so
there's no glory to it. There's no money.
And none of those people would say it to his face. That's the thing too. Well, none of those. Half the people are my age or younger. He's been a Jets fan longer than they've been alive.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. We in this day and age, we're blessed, and I think it's especially for as connected as we try to be with our team and the ins and the outs. Like, social media is a wonderful thing, but it could also be the devil. You know what I mean? There's some people there who just do things to get a rise, and it's very hard to. It takes a strong kind of restraint of pen and tongue to just kind of let that noise be. You know what I mean? And some people can't. And that's why this Twitter drama or these social media drama happens all the time. Would you guys stop? Sorry,
So
I'm sorry. My dogs are like.
Yeah, just to give point of reference for those don't know. I'm not going to say her name. She has the blue check next to her name. She's a Jets fan. She works in the business. I forgot what she does. I mean, it says it on our Twitter handle. I forgot what she does, but she's in the. I mean, I guess network industry. Right? She works for one of the networks. She has the blue check, and she just came out and said that Fireman Ed is annoying. And that he's not a real Jet. Like in arguing, she's saying he's not a real Jet fan. He's a quitter. Like
he's trending right now on Twitter on the side of my thing right here.
Wow.
He's just because of that tweet.
Yeah, I mean, but she and this was unprovoked. She just came out and said this. So it's just so wrong to do that to anyone. He didn't do anything. He didn't do anyone to deserve that, to just be attacked. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, and I saw that and I was like, no big deal. And then I saw another post and I was like, no big deal. And a third one, I was like, fine. But then in the replies, like, it was kind of 50-50 of people who were like agreeing and people who I'm friends with and people who have been on my show, just talking, just, dehumanizing somebody just for no apparent reason because he gave up his support wavered. Dude, has anyone in this chat support not freaking wavered? Does anyone remember the Kellen Clemens year? Were you on live streams, deep into the night leading up to the Kellen Clemens season? Come on.
Do you not remember the Adam Gase introductory press conference? I wavered right there. I mean, I almost slipped my wrists watching
and
this.
Look, and look, it's one thing for you to privately think this guy annoys me. I don't like it when he gets up and leads the chant. This guy annoys me. He quit once, or whatever you want to say and think about him. That's one thing. To go onto public media, though, for others to see and write about him, what is that about? Like, it's like, so even your friends who agreed with it, why did they have to chime in? Like, why are you talking about a human being?
Yeah.
And what kind of Jet fan they are. You're talking about a real person with a family for no reason. If you don't like someone and you're annoyed by them or whatever, fine. If someone doesn't like me, don't watch my channel. Fine. But why would you go and attack me? But then to go and attack
we'll have to ask Aaron Butler about that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, but like, if you don't like somebody, you don't have to attack them. It's crazy. Yeah. It's absolutely nuts to me to go and attack somebody. We have families. We have people who love us. Yeah. This guy has a family. This guy has a big family because everybody that wore that jacket with him and rode those engines with him are his family. And it's a slap in the face because this guy was a symbol in New York. For me, he was. Ever since I was a kid, I used to watch him. I don't know if you know this, but whenever they would talk Jets in the studio before the game, and they would show, like, they used to show, like, they're in a studio and the glass windows and Jets fans outside, you'd always see him the first one. And eventually they would even start interviewing him. He was like the face of our fandom. Like, I can't wait to meet him. I was like hoping that, because Sack Exchange said, oh, we have a surprise guest in the hangar. And the first thing I thought was, oh man, Fireman Ed, that would be so cool. Just so I could tell him, hey, when I was a kid, I used to watch you. I used to watch you do the cheer. It got me into it. It got me pumped up. So it's like, you don't have to agree with me in that. Nobody out there has to agree with me. And maybe you don't like Fireman Ed, but why would you go on Twitter and attack him? Why would you attack his name? It's just disgusting to me.
Yeah, not cool. I'm just glad after living out in California all these years, you still say that it's a human being.
Why? What's going on? Like, is that not a California? Is that a New York thing to say?
Yeah, that's a big New where you leave the H out. He's a human being.
Human. L-U-U-M-A-N.
A human being.
But anyway.
I got a couple things here, guys. As I was driving home from the game and stopped to get my kids some ice cream and doing all that, obviously I had you guys in on the earpiece and I was listening. So a couple discussion points that I thought would be interesting. One, I know all the I think Lee brought up who's going to make the roster and who's not going to make the roster. And the reality is that we still don't know. There's still a lot to be determined. But some of the names that you guys talked about, I'd like to dive into a little bit more. I I'd really love to hear both of your takes. Maybe you did and I didn't hear it, on where do we stand with Bryce Huff?
Yeah, I think that Bryce Huff, I'm almost close to calling him a lock to make the team. He just when you give me even a short sample size of that nasty speed and bend off the edge like he did a short sample size, first 5 games last year. So if it comes down to on the defensive line, if it's like him versus maybe Vinny Curry, I probably would keep Huff. I definitely would keep Huff.
Give me 1 second. I got to let the dogs out. I apologize.
Yeah, you're good, Jeremy. We talked about this before. I gave my spiel. I love Bryce Huff. How do you feel about Bryce Huff? Am I over? I know I'm overrating him, so I'll admit that. To what extent am I overrating him?
I don't think it's that I'm not going to sit there and say it's that high an extent because, and here's why. He was an undrafted free agent. He cost us nothing to get. So when you get an undrafted free agent, there's an expectation that there's some development time, right? And if he was NFL ready at all or showed any potential of that, he would have been drafted. Now, he got better from the time we got him, since we got him, as we had him. He had an amazing camp last year. Mm-hmm. He got hurt, but he was showing a lot of promise. Even the other players recognize his talent. Carl Lawson said the man with the best bend on the team and maybe the NFL. I mean, that's pretty high praise.
So I agree wholeheartedly, and I love Bryce Huff, the player. Okay, but here's my and maybe it's just devil's advocate take because I don't know where I really stand on it, that whole thing. But we know. We all talk about that there's going to be good football players that are cut, right? There's going to be guys that don't make our 53 that are going to be immediately on somebody else's 53. And however you feel, I'm going to respectfully disagree with Buffalo. I don't know if Huff is a lock, because if you just look at the depth and where we stand, right? All right, so we know Lawson is there at end. We know Jermaine Johnson's going to be on the roster, right? We brought in Jacob Martin, and I think he's going to play a big part in it. And if JFM does, split his time and is on the outside, like a lot of the banter's been talking about, this is your fifth end. As aggressive and that bendy, outside, rush skill that he has, he's really only a very situational player right now, So where I'm getting at and where I'm going with this is, could Bryce Huff be one of those guys who in turn we do move to fix or upgrade somewhere else, Well,
that's what I would say. I would put the caveat in there, not that he's a lock to make the team, but that if he doesn't make the team, he's traded. I think he's too good to just cut. I think you could easily get, a 6th round, maybe even a 5th round pick for Bryce Huff.
So I think, unfortunately, I mean, I would, if I had my druthers, I want to keep Bryce Huff. Like I said, he's had 2 years where, we really haven't gotten to see everything because he's been hurt. You know what I mean? So I'd love to see what he can do in a full year healthy, given that role of just pin your ears back and go get the quarterback, But where we stand in regards to this roster and how we're going to make it up, he's just going to fall in that bubble. And I agree with exactly what you said, Buffalo. If he's not going to make the final 53, he's going to help improve the team somehow, whether it's, mid-round, late-round draft capital next year. Maybe it's a swap for a player. Maybe Dwayne Brown doesn't come. Maybe Dwayne Brown doesn't sign for whatever reason. The money's not right. Maybe he's used to go get our, backup tackle or some offensive line depth, And I could see the same thing. Even though I think it's less likely, I think it's more likely this person makes a team. I could see the same thing with Denzel Mims. There is some. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say let me know when you're done because I want to get somebody else's take. So, but make your point about Mims.
I think it's a little more likely that Mims is on the lock side for the roster than Bryce Huff, just because I'm not. I haven't been, take the hoopla off the first couple of days of camp. Jeff Smith is a jag. That's just what he is. He's. I'm sure he's a nice guy, and he's made some flashy plays here and there. But overall, when it comes down to it, if Mims is going to be given the opportunity to utilize his skill set on specials, whether it be as a gunner or whatever the case is, I think you keep Mims over Jeff Smith. You know what I mean? When both are on a scale, everything's going to lean a little heavier on Mims' side, in my eyes. However, Mims and Huff are the two guys. If they're borderline and they're not going to make teams, they're going to get us the biggest return.
Yep.
Right? Mims can bring that upgrade, that backup linebacker depth. Mims can bring that backup, or either can bring really that backup offensive lineman depth if Dwayne Brown doesn't sign, or maybe even if he does. I think we can upgrade the team best if those two pieces aren't going to make our roster. That's the whole thing I'm trying to get at here.
And what do you think about it, Tigo?
I'd like, first of all, what's going on, guys? But like
transition.
It's one of those things where whenever you're looking at these positions that we have on this team, I think a great way to describe our deepest rooms on this football team are outside of the cornerback room, which has elite top level talent. But if we talk about the deepest rooms that we have on this football team, which in my opinion go to defensive line, like the edge, wide receiver, and then cornerback. When you look at that, those are the three positions where we have potential starting level players down to our backups, and that's my thing where it goes to me. If I'm Joe Douglas and I go and I look at my depth chart and I'm talking to my coaching staff and I go, there's three players and I'm gonna stay, like, this is the hill that I'll stay standing on. I'm not saying I want these players gone. Like, I want every player to stay here. But the realization that we're not a win now team. We're not this is the Super Bowl year, screw the future. We'll keep these guys who are starters on other teams as depth options. So for me, the three guys that you got to look at trading because they're so far down the depth chart right now are, unfortunately, Denzel Mims, unfortunately, Huff, and unfortunately, Hall. You have to look at trading those three guys because they're so far down the depth chart now because we got so much better that they have value. In my eyes, Dom, you said that Huff is what? Probably edge 5? In my opinion, he's edge 6 when I look at that depth chart. And the only reason I give Clemens the edge is because we drafted him.
Well,
we wasted a pick on him. That's it.
Here's the thing with Clemens. I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm glad you brought that up. I found it very interesting yesterday when at the green and white scrimmage, when you watched the one-on-ones before they went into the full scrimmage, Michael Clemens lined up in the 3-tech the whole time. He wasn't on the outside. He was inside the whole time. So I think that they have a plan to really utilize his pass rush skill set from the inside, which I think is great.
I think it's a great idea.
He's big enough.
He's long.
He's long. He can still, probably use to put on some more girth and some more mass if he's going to transition full time to a defensive tackle. But maybe the role for him is just very similar to JFM, right? You're going to be inside sometimes. You're going to be outside sometimes, so on and so forth. So I don't know if I would classify Clemens strictly as an edge. I think he's at least from what I've seen. And what I heard, he's getting a lot more reps inside. He's getting. And listen, can you imagine in a passing situation where you have Quinnen, JFM, and Michael Clemens all right there, and just say you have Lawson. It doesn't matter which one's on the other side. You can have JFM on the outside. Say you have Clemens and JFM on the inside. You're resting Quinnen for a minute, and then you put Martin and Lawson over there, that's a lot. That's a lot of go get 'em. That's a lot of speed right there. Right?
And that's the whole point for me is like in those situations, even when we're looking at the guys who can play edge and inside, if we take two edge players in my eyes and put them inside, just like you said, Lawson still gets the call, and then JJ still gets the call, like the call up. And if JJ is not the guy getting the call up, my next call up is Jacob Martin, not Huff.
Yeah.
Jacob Martin was disruptive when asked to play on third downs for the Texans last year. He was in the backfield. He was a really, really good third down pass rusher for a really bad Houston Texans team, where like there was no one on the Houston Texans defensive line that anybody had to worry about. And Jacob Martin was getting into the backfield and being disruptive. So like that's when I look at that and I go, this is the whole point with like Huff or Zuniga. Like I do agree, like Kevin, that like Huff is better than Zuniga, but I just don't agree that Huff is so far and away better than Zuniga that you're gonna turn down a 4th or a 5th round pick for a guy that you wasted it's free return for your 6th edge rusher. And then to answer a lot of the people who were talking about Hall is CB3, Hall right now, in my opinion, is CB5. I think this coaching staff likes Eccles a little bit more than Hall in the sense of like the future of Eccles. And then people keep forgetting that Michael Carter II is CB3. Like he's cornerback 3.
Some people count like slot as a different position.
Yeah.
So it kind of can get tricky. Like to me, the slot corner is cornerback 3 and then Bryce Hall is like 4. But some people can consider slot nickel its own thing, and then Bryce Hall is like cornerback 3.
If that's the case, he's still in my eyes. Like I'm not trying to disrespect Hall or anything like that. I just think that like Hall is a good enough player that he can be a CB2 on a lot of football teams out there. And with Eccles being on the team, a young guy that you drafted who played relatively well, had some interceptions last year and everything like that, you now look at a really deep cornerback room and you look at it as Brandon Eccles and Bryce Hall are luxury players. And unfortunately, Eccles doesn't have a trade value as high as Hall. And that's why, in my opinion, you trade Hall. So that's where I'm like, hey, we should probably look at trading Bryce Hall. It's not because I think Eccles is better. I actually think they're relatively similar, like skill sets. It's just a matter of the fact that I think Hall has a much higher trade value. So it's one of those things that like I think the coaching staff likes Eccles a little bit more, and it goes that way. And I just don't think that we're gonna like, it's hard for me to look at this team and say that Hall, Mims, and Huff are all on the 53-man roster by week 1, just because we're still a team that needs to go out and get pieces.
Yeah.
So like if you can get out of those 3 guys, if you can turn 2 of those guys into 3rd round picks, those 3rd round picks can, 1, give us leverage to come back into the 2nd, back into the 1st. We saw all the movement that gives you, like flexibility and movement that gives you, but also, and I think more importantly, you were talking about it earlier in the show, we have outs on a lot of contracts that we can get out from under coming up this year. A 3rd round pick could be a linebacker, could be a CJ Mosley replacement. We're losing from our linebacking core potentially this offseason. Both CJ and with Quan looking as good as he is, we're going to lose 2 starters, right? An extra third can be a linebacker that comes in. An extra third can be an interior defensive lineman so that we don't have to keep guys on the roster named Tanzel Smart. An extra third can be that 5th cornerback that everyone's so worried about. Like, and my thing is like, oh, if you already have that 5th corner, why not? Well, it's control, it's age, and it's a guy who, like doesn't have an expectation of starting. Hall, Mims, maybe not Huff because he was undrafted, but Hall and Mims totally 100% in his heart believes that he's a starter. And I agree with him. But on this team, he's wide receiver 5.
Yeah. See, I'm
that's hard.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with the point on Hall. I think that he's going to play a part in this team. Listen, I don't think we spent this time and effort building up the defensive back just to kind of, dismantle. It's deep. I agree with you. It's not as deep because the amount of defensive backs at play. You know, we on any given down, more likely than not, we're going to have 3 defensive backs. You know, not including the safeties on the field, right?
Yeah. At any point in time, we can have 5 guys who are considered defensive backs on the field at one time.
And I think everything that the staff thinks about Huff just shows right now. Hey, listen, Sauce Gardner, 4th overall pick. You know, arguably the best player in this draft. You're going to be swapping in and out, you know, with the ones with this guy. So to me, that's a little bit. That might be a little bit of a super hot take that Hall's gone. I could easily see.
But wouldn't that concern you though? If Hall is if Gardner is splitting reps with Hall
in the preseason, absolutely not.
Not the preseason. I'm not talking preseason. I'm talking week 1. I'm saying these guys. I don't think those 3 guys will be on the roster week 1. So like they'll play in the preseason because of course they're going to play in the preseason. You play everybody in the preseason. Gardner is very clearly right now because of formality is CB2, but he's CB2 with an asterisk. It's really CB1. I think he's shown that this offseason, and if in joint practices he comes in and balls out, like I'm really excited for the Eagles practice because I want to see him one-on-one with A.J. Brown, one of the better receivers in the NFL. What does that look like? I want to see him one-on-one with Drake London because that guy's just huge. I'm not saying that he's this whatever. Like I think you, Dom, both agree that he was our wide receiver 1 last year. What does he look like against that? And whether or not you want to believe in it, I still like that Giants practice. They've got good wide receivers too. So like if it came to week 1 and Hall is still on the team, which totally can happen, and you're talking about Gardner splitting reps with Hall, I'm worried. Why is Hall getting is Hall either that good that I just didn't think he was that good, or is Gardner that low? Like something has to be going on because we don't really rotate corners. We rotate the defensive line, but we don't really rotate corners.
No, but I still think that there's ample opportunity for him to see the field enough. Listen, right now, you know, if the Jets posted a formal depth chart right here, right now, you know, we all know what Sauce Gardner is. We all know he's our CB1 of the future. You know, you can make the argument that, all right, DJ, you know, maybe DJ Reed CB1, so on and so forth. But if they put it on paper right now, I guarantee you, just because he's the rookie, he's going to be listed as the third cornerback on that roster.
Yeah.
Just like right now, Jeremy Ruckert. It's probably the 4th or the 5th tight end if there was an actual true depth chart. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's the 5th tight end come week 1.
Of course,
you know what I mean? So I don't think that I don't think I think it's just a formality. I think they're doing it the right way in regards to naming Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed as the starting cornerbacks. Even with those 2 named as the starting cornerbacks and seeing 80%, 85% of the snaps, trading Hall and leaving Eccles and, you know, whatever, you know, whoever wins the 4th cornerback spot, if you get rid of Hall, you know, whether it's Isaiah Dunn or whether it's Rashid Wildgoose or whomever, that just doesn't – I just don't see that feasible as making us better, you know. Right now we've built a very nice, fluid defensive back room, you know. And the one thing I love about it is you hear all the time, and I know it's very cliche, you know, somebody gets hurt, it's next man up, right? You know, the next guy. If something were to happen to our DBs, I'm so confident in the guys like Bryce Hall and even Eccles or so on and so forth to step in and really not see that big dip of production. You know, I wouldn't necessarily be saying that with Rashid Wildgoose or Isaiah Dunn. You know, still kind of unknowns. So to me, I don't think Bryce Hall. And again, I say this with all due respect to you. I don't think Bryce Hall is even a question that he doesn't make the 53 right now.
No, he makes the 53. My concern is, should he? Should he be taking a roster spot when we could take a draft pick? That's my thing. I think we could take a higher draft
argument. I personally think you can make a fair argument for Bryce Huff. I think you can even make an argument for Denzel Mims. Both of those the argument is a lot more stronger than anything for Bryce Hall.
What do you think, Buffalo?
I mean, what Tigo's saying isn't crazy. Like it comes down to an accounting problem, right? It's resource allocation. So yeah, there's going to be some version of that. I kind of look at it as the inverse though. So if it's not that I don't want to necessarily part ways with Bryce Hall, Denzel Mims, Bryce Huff, and get draft capital for next year. Number one, because I'd rather, if we're going to trade him, can I get a swing tackle? Do you have a rotational defensive tackle I could use? Do you have like a Zach Bond, another linebacker on a rookie contract? Because as Tigo mentioned, all of our top 3 linebackers are on expiring contracts. Give me that. Because if we trade Bryce Hall, I feel like the ceiling is probably like a 3rd round pick. That's optimistic. People value their draft picks in the NFL. Executives honestly value draft picks more than they should. As crazy as it sounds, they value draft picks more than established talent to an extent that they shouldn't. And if we got a 3rd round draft pick and they turned out to be as good as in their position as Bryce Hall was by year 2, we'd love that. Most 3rd round picks aren't going to be as good as Bryce Hall. So I wouldn't want to do that. If we're going to trade him, I want a player. And then I look at it the opposite way. Instead of saying, oh, we can go ahead and get new rookies to replace to, reset their contracts and be cheaper. I'm looking at it. Okay, next year, if Bryce Huff really surprises, can he take Jacob Martin's role? And now Bryce Huff is doing it for $900,000 and we can let go of Jacob Martin, who's getting like $6 million. Same thing with Denzel Mims and Corey Davis. And on the Bryce, I do think there's a significant gap between Bryce Hall and Brandon. I think Bryce Hall is significantly better than Brandon Echols based on the information that we have so far. And on Huff and Martin, look, Tigo, you're talking about 2 guys I really like because Jacob Martin's really underrated. And
I agree.
He's accomplished far more in this league than Bryce Huff has. That's just a fact. But if we're going to do the thing I like to do, which is cherry pick stats to make my argument better,
do it.
At that small sample size, again, with Huff, I just did some quick calculating. So Jacob Martin last year had a sack every 174 snaps. And Bryce Huff in those first 5 games last year had a sack every 50 snaps. You're talking, close to 3.5, 4 times the efficiency. And then the quarterback hits are even further stacked in Bryce Huff's favor. So Jacob Martin, he's definitely more established. He obviously is going to be, he's obviously a lock. He's a firm lock with just his contract and what he can do. But could Bryce Huff take Jacob Martin's net role next year? And then you're building a pipeline of your own guys who what they can do on the field. Their character, how they gel in the locker room, and then you keep feeding the pipeline instead of throwing guys away for more shots at the board with a draft pick.
Just to cherry pick my own stat in Jacob Martin's thing, Jacob Martin likes to, in my opinion, fall into that same kind of stat where like Lawson is creating was it top 8 pressures in the NFL? Like that's what he was creating. I'm not saying like Martin is doing that, but Martin is getting a lot of pressures and just not converting them into sacks. He has a really, really, really high pressure rate. So I will say that. But it's like I agree. Like in a perfect world, I would love to keep all of these guys, but like in my mind, the question always comes down to is I want to trade guys away or anything like that when their value is highest, right? And I have a concern of like, let's say we keep Mims, we keep Huff, and we keep Hall, right? My concern comes down to, not with Huff. If we keep Huff, I'm down with keeping Huff. I think we should keep both Huff and Zuniga and carry the extra edge. Like, I really think that's the smart move. We should, instead of carrying 6 linebackers, we carry the 5 and we carry the extra edge. I really think that's a good move to have. But, and I'm not saying that we trade away Huff. He's like the 3rd person on my list, like of players that I want to trade. I think you try to trade Wesco before you try to trade Huff or something like that, right? So, because I totally agree. I think Huff can be a Jacob Martin replacement. I totally think that's a really, really real thing to have a conversation about because I love Huff. I like him a lot. But my concern is a player like Mims and a player like Hall, which is what happens if Mims stays wide receiver 5 all year? He gets what, like 50 snaps all year because he's wide receiver 5. He'll get a couple of packages. He maybe gets it as wide receiver 5, assuming we don't have any injuries, which is never a thing, right?
Yeah.
People are going to get hurt, right? But like he gets not that many snaps. He maybe gets 5 to 7 snaps a game. And so like now you're looking at it and he goes, what he gets of those 5 to 7 snaps, he might get a target or 2. When do you like, if he gets upset and his agent gets upset, right? Like obviously they don't have any control, but like you're talking about keeping Mims in a theoretical world, because I agreed with what you guys were saying about Corey Davis. Cutting him is a non-starter.
Well,
The contract that he's making, he's playing here this year and next year, whether he likes it or not. He signed the contract. So now you're talking about Mims on his fourth and final year of his contract is the only year you have to evaluate him. Truly. And by then, are we not drafting another wide receiver in the second round at that point? Like, is that just not what you do? Like Corey Davis's last year, do you not just take a dart throw at a wide receiver in the second round? So because I don't think you're going to pay Mims, because at that point we have to pay Zach. And assuming that Zach is the guy that we all think he is, he's going to get paid. So like I'm trying to think like 2 or 3 years ahead, because I believe in Mims and I think his value right now is the highest that it'll be when you talk about what we can trade him for, because his value is only going to go down. And that's where I look at it. And that's where I also
I think
look
Mims'
at
value is at an all-time low after what he can't get any lower than what he did last year. Right now, all he has going for him is his draft pedigree. Even if he goes out there next year and catches 18 balls, which, you know, Corey Davis and Elijah Moore missed a combined 14 games last year. So unfortunately, the Jets wide receiver room seems to be cursed with injuries. They're going to get on the field. I think we're going to be really appreciative that guys like Mims and Bryce Hall are on this team week 12, week 13. And who knows what the COVID rules are going to be still. And so I would keep the depth. And I want to win some damn games this year. You know, I know you got to be forward thinking, but how much longer can we kick the can down the road? Like if you can help us out this year, help us out this year, help us out next year. And if your draft, you know, what we can trade for Denzel Mims goes from we could have got a 5th rounder, but now it's a year later and we could have got a 6th rounder. Well, we still got a year of value out of him, and then so be it. I think we're getting a little cute when we try to play when we try to dial everything up like that and time the market. Like if a guy can contribute, keep him on the team and let's win some damn games, and then we'll evaluate it again at the end of the year. Obviously, it's kind of the trade talk. It does get a little silly because at the end of the day, everyone's got a price. You know what I mean? Yeah. I like Bryce Hall. If someone offers a 3rd round pick, obviously I gotta listen. But I would.
Again,
I keep Bryce Hall.
I want to keep all of these guys. Like that's my thing, right? I want to keep all of these guys, but it's just that thing of having that. Like I like to think a little bit more like a GM, because like a GM, you don't draft for this year's needs. You draft for 2 or 3 years, right? Like that's the idea. It's the same thing when you make those moves. And I just look at some of these guys and I go, there's value there. And as much as I want to be that win now team, I think I personally think we're a playoff team who probably gets bounced in the first round. I think in this team that we have right now with these players, or when we trade these players, I think we are a 9 to 11 win team. We make the wild card, and I think that we get bounced in the first round. And that's a great year, in my opinion. But like that's what I see happens, because we run into a Tennessee or a something in the wild card round, and those teams are a little further along, but that's still a great year. And that's where I look at it and I go, do you want to just keep, it's that like I'm a big hockey guy, and you always come into like big, good players on the last year of their deal. Do you keep them on your own rental, or do you trade them away for assets that you can keep long-term? And I look at those guys as, are they your own rentals where you're just giving up the assets? And that's like where I look at it. Again, if we keep all of these guys, I'm over the moon. Depth is depth, and they'll see the field eventually. We're going to get hurt. We're playing on that horrible turf. It happens, like they're going to see the field. It's just a matter of, would we be better served with the picks. It's like you said, it's an accounting question. What has more value, the player depth or the possibility of that lottery pick in the future?
Can I ask you guys a question on Bryce Hall? So this is it's an interesting topic that's come up, but Bryce Hall, to me, he's not going to be a safety. Okay. I think sometimes we think, oh, make him a safety. Like it's a completely different position, but can Bryce Hall do some safety things? Like if we're going to is there situations where if we're going to have four, and maybe this is a question better suited for Dom, who knows the ins and at least better than I do. But is there situations where if we have five defensive backs, 4-2-5, right? Obviously the corners being Sauce, DJ Reed, and Michael Carter. And then obviously one of the safeties is Jordan Whitehead. Like, are there situations to me where Bryce Hall should be that fifth defensive back over LaMarcus Joyner or Jason Pinnock? Absolutely.
So listen, and that's when, to answer your question, Buff, yes, I can absolutely see packages where they mix and match like that. More so probably something where they take, something where they're more so in like a quarters or have four dedicated guys, 2 on the boundary, 2 on the hash, maybe Whitehead's off the field or something like that. You can play. I mean, he can play a deep zone. I don't necessarily think he's got the skills and the chops to convert completely into a free safety. I mean, like you said, it's apples and oranges. It's not that. But could Bryce Hall be asked to go out there and in certain situations play a deep third or play the deep middle? And absolutely he can. You know what I mean? I think his strong point really is what he does in man skills more so than deep than playing in a deep third. So I don't know if it's 100% feasible, but is it something that could happen? Absolutely. You could see there's going to be times where you see all 4 of those guys. You see Reed, you see Hall, you see Reed Hall, Bryce Hall and Eccles all on the field at the same time, and that's the beauty of it. And that's how the NFL defenses work, especially, where you have 4 of those guys and 2 of those guys are going to line up man, 2 of them are going to play in the deep zone. You're going to have a linebacker drop into the deep middle. This is the mix and match. This is the chess game that NFL teams do. That's why I think Hall I think it's crazy talk to think that we don't have or we entertain Hall not being on this team next year, And moreover, I just want to backtrack a little bit. I know I caught you guys were talking about Corey Davis a little bit earlier on. There's absolutely 1,000% no chance that he's cut. It's a $13.5 million hit to dead money next year if we cut him this year. Now, going into next year, we can save almost $13 million if he is released, with only a dead cap hit of about $660,000. So the idea is that Corey Davis isn't going to be on this team. You can forget it. He's going to be on this team. He's going to be asked to play a big role on this team as well, to boot.
I think it's interesting that when people disappear off the show, the chats notice, but we have to just carry on as if nothing happens.
Did you? I thought it was. I didn't. I mean, I saw he was gone, but I just assumed he turned off or had a baby issue or something like that.
Yeah, that's what. No, I mean, he went so abruptly, but it could be baby issue because that's the kind of thing. Baby starts screaming and he just doesn't have time. He doesn't want to interrupt and he just leaves. So I'm sure he's okay. He'll probably be back later. Yeah. Oh, there's a private chat. Maybe something in there. I gotta go. Baby up. Okay, yeah. Okay. So, I gotta remember to check those.
I see something I saw somebody in the chat mention Rankins. Now, Rankins is an interesting one. I don't know what you guys think, about Sheldon Rankins as a whole, as a Jet, as a player on this team, as a member locked into the final 53. There it is. What do you think? What do you do with Rankins? I think right now, realistically, the numbers say you can. I'm looking at it right now as I look, so I'm not. So it's about a $5 million cap savings if we cut him, if he does not make the team. However, we've already paid him half of that. So in essence, it's really we have a dead cap hit of $1 million, and we're already lost the $2.5 million that we've already paid him for the roster bonus, whatever it was, March 1st or whenever the season started. Yeah. So I think Rankins is going to be on this team. I know some of you. I know he didn't really produce last year, so on and so forth. But I will say this: I know that everyone talks about his leadership ability. You know what he brings outside of the field. So you tie that into the fact that we've already paid him $2.5 million of the salary he is owed, and it'll be another $1 million dead cap hit next year if we do cut him this year. I think he's going to be on the team.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be on the team. Now, when I was doing my mock off seasons, before that, he was one of my first cuts.
Yeah.
To be honest, to me, the $6 million, I was like, goodbye. Because he was the biggest culprit in our run defense being bad last year. He just got blown off the ball at an enormous rate. And, it was between him and I know we love Quincy Williams, but it was Sheldon Rankins getting blown off the ball and Quincy Williams missed tackles and the safeties, obviously. It's an 11-man thing. I don't want to put it all on one guy, but Sheldon Rankins, it starts with the defensive tackles, and he didn't do his job. The guys who were here last year, Quinnen's got to be better. I get that. But Sheldon Rankins is a lock to make this team because once March passed and we paid him half his money, he was probably a lock then. But in terms of what he put on the field last year compared to what we have in-house, I don't think he should have been a lock. Obviously, I think he could bounce back. He gives you a decent amount of juice in the pass rush from the inside. That's why, to me, JFM taking most of his snaps at edge, I disagree with. And, I know, and it's a whole thing, well, Saleh and them know better. Yeah, of course they know football better than me. But I'm allowed to disagree with them until their defense finishes slightly higher than dead last. I'm sorry. I think that's reasonable. And JF, so to me, the way to get your most talented defensive lineman on the field more is JFM next to Quinnen almost full time. Now you're talking about more snaps going to Jermaine Johnson, Jacob Martin, Bryce Huff, as opposed to Sheldon Rankins. I mean, especially Jermaine Johnson, who's better rushing the passer and stopping the run maybe than Sheldon Rankins is. And I don't know. That's kind of I thought he would be gone.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. I thought he would be. To me, it was a no-brainer. You're going to save $5 million right into your cap before free agency started, so on and so forth. I thought for me it was a no-brainer. But they didn't, and they kept him. So that brings us into another guy who's, by looking at the numbers, I can only deduce that he's also going to be part of our roster. Solomon Thomas. Solomon Thomas, his cap hit. His dead cap money for next year, if he does not make the team, is almost $2 million, $1.91 million in dead cap money for only a savings of $300,000 if we do cut him. So to me, that adds up to Solomon Thomas is going to make this roster.
Yeah, he is. And he seems like there's two guys, like, to me, Solly Thomas and Nathan Shepard are just like solid guys who are going to. That's the thing about tackle, too. Like, if JFM is your primary defensive tackle next to Quinnen, then Sheldon Rankins is, that rotational defensive tackle, and Shepard is kind of pushed out of the rotation. Nathan Shepard last year had 7 penalties and no sacks. I'm sorry. Like, you can't. He's played over a third of the snaps on this team the last 2 years, and I know he's a dog. I know he works hard, but. We're not going for participation trophies this year. He should, with all the talent that we have on the defensive line in total, to me, Sheldon Rankins and Nathan Shepard playing a ton of snaps, I can't make it work in my mind.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you talk about JFM and Quinnen together a lot. Ideally on pass sets, I'd love to see that. But in reality, if hypothetical, you take JFM and you say, okay, you're going to spend the majority of the time inside, right? Him and Quinnen really both play they're both at 3-tech. They're both at outside. None of them really fit the mold of that that outside one, that bulky run stuffer that Sheldon Rankins was supposed to do. that we hope Nathan
Foley
Shepard,
Fadukasi was.
yeah, that Foley Fadukasi was supposed to do. Neither of those guys fit that. And then you tie in Solly Thomas, who's also, if anything,
He's a tweener.
He's a tweener. He's going to be a 3 or a wide 9 where Jermaine Johnson is. So I think there's going to be a rotation of JFM and Solly Thomas and Jermaine Johnson, and that's where they're rotating. They're rotating on that outside, that 9. Solly Thomas and JFM are obviously going to move inside in pass rush sets, but it leaves us still with a gaping hole in the middle. Now, Jonathan Marshall, he looked really good. He's
the wild card. He's the wild card in there.
You talked about Nathan Shepard. We can be free of Nathan Shepard. I mean, I know we gave him a contract, but just so I'm not misquoting here, so no one yells at me. Let me see what Nathan.
I think he got like 1 year just below $2 million.
So Nathan Shepard, it would cost, if we cut him, if he did not make the 53, it would cost us $50,000 in dead cap money next year for a $990,000 savings against the cap this year. So economically, he's no lock. I'm not saying that
No.
Economically he's no lock. When you're talking about straight numbers and cap and I think Joe Douglas, we can all say that Joe Douglas did wonders for the cap. I mean, the amount of dead money that we got, I think we're by far the lowest amount in the league. By a fair margin. I can't imagine he's going to want to just be okay increasing that for next year. Correct? Am I wrong in saying that? I don't think so.
No. He's definitely going to be that GM forever.
So Marshall's going to be the wild card. I don't know about Nathan Shepard here.
We don't really have like Nathan Shepard is the only guy who like fits the bill of maybe being like that 2-gapper that you're talking about. And I don't. So to me, this staff, the way they built this roster, it tells me they don't really believe that there's a role for that between letting Foley walk and Jonathan Marshall. Even though he's a big guy, he's known for like his speed more so than his power. And I don't know. It seems like they just want to. I think they're clearly making a trade-off of we're not going to be really great against the run, but we're going to be hell against your quarterback on every single down. I think that's the trade-off they're making when they build this defensive line.
And then maybe they're saying, hey, listen, we're now so strong on the back end, and we're now so strong on the outsides with our edges. That stuff right there, paying attention to those guys is going to help the run defense. You got to hope. We all know what Whitehead is and what he's supposed to do, and how he can really affect and improve our shoddy at best run defense. I don't know where we're going to do at the linebacker position. Outside of CJ, Quan is still he's looked good in a couple of days of camp. I want to see more of it. Quincy Williams, I want to see more of. I want to see what happens with these young kids. Do they play a part? Is Nasruddin kind of isolated and just become a specials, guy in the specials? I don't think we're going to have to worry about Sherwood. I think his role is going to be the next man up for CJ. Whether it's this year, God forbid, with an injury to CJ, or it's next year or the year after that. I think that's his role. I think he's on this team. He's going to be on this team, and his quality, the number of reps that he sees this year probably are going to be limited.
Yeah, definitely. I think him and Hamza, they were 5th-round picks who switched positions. So if they stick as backups and special teamers, you got your value out of those picks.
Yeah. Mark, this is my den, man. You don't like? Look, I'll show you my wedding picture back there. I got a little thing here.
It is nice.
My living room, man. I can't get downstairs, so it's all good.
I want to thank everyone. My stream just hit 80. That's the first time that's ever happened. So thanks everybody for watching, and that's pretty cool. 80 people in the house. Awesome. Thank you, Buffalo. Thank you, Dom, for keeping it going. Couldn't do it without you.
People are predicting how many defensive linemen I have a hard time predicting any position in a vacuum. You kind of have to do the whole 53 because you know what I mean. Because if you ask me how many defensive linemen, then which tight ends, then which wide receivers. At the end of it, I got a 70-man team. So it's tough. I would say at least, I would put the floor at 10. I would say 10 or 11 defensive linemen. Though. Yeah. I think, Robert Saleh said he thinks all 18 have a chance to make the team, which is obviously not happening.
I think he said, I know the quote you're talking about, but did he say that all 18 are going to make the team, or all 18 are going to make a team?
Oh, hey, he may not be completely out of range there.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what happens with some of these younger guys. Like, we talked about Marshall being the wild card. Can he sneak onto the practice squad? Or
I don't know if you could protect him, man. A guy with a near 10 raw athletic score.
Yeah, somebody's going to soak him up so quick.
Yeah.
I think the needle is swinging to the negative for a guy like Vinny Curry. I don't see where Vinny Curry's role is right now.
Yeah, like who do you give him? And two, like where is he at? Like he didn't play for a whole year. I don't know how much he was able to work out with the blood thing, and he's older. I don't know if he doesn't really offer a unique skill set that we don't have on this team. I think that he definitely offers a little bit more stoutness against the run as a defensive end compared to guys like Jacob Martin and Bryce Huff. But, we have Lawson and JFM and Jermaine Johnson who can set the edge. So I don't know what his role is. Again, if it comes down to him or Bryce Huff, even Zuniga, who at least you have a couple more years of control over, who's making no money. I don't know.
So, I think in this day, at this stage of his career, at this twilight of his career, Vinny Curry is very situational, right? I think people are going to be surprised as we get into this year with all the hoopla and hype that Jermaine Johnson had coming, at the draft and then being drafted, so on and so forth. And I love the player. This is not a knock on Jermaine Johnson, but I think we're going to see him more locked in as that edge-setting run defender more than that get at the quarterback, pin your ears back and get at your quarterback, use those pass rusher that we think that we all kind of label should be with our edge guys. I think that role is secure. I think you're going to see a lot more pressures from Lawson, from JFM, from Huff and Martin. If Huff's on the team, which I think he probably will be. If they're on the team, I think those are going to be the four mainstays that really provide the pressure on those pass sets, more so than Jermaine Johnson. He's going to cycle in there, but I think he's set. I think his role is going to be set. Hey, listen, play be our edge setter, stuff the run. You do it very well, and kind of let him grow into that dual threat pass rushing edge and real force on the defense. But I digress. Vinny Curry, I think at this stage in his career is kind of, he's very situational, right? He can get after the quarterback, Sure, he can set. He's a little bit more stouty. He's a little bit, more sturdy. He was 2 years ago good against the run as well. But I think his role on the team would be very pass rush situational. So I just don't see where it lines up right here on the Jets. He'd be fifth in line, maybe sixth in line right now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think with Jermaine Johnson, I think there's two guys that Jets fans are setting themselves up to be a little bit disappointed by this year in terms of their volume of production. It's Jermaine Johnson and Braxton Berrios. I think people, I don't know, people always tell me Braxton Berrios should start, which to me means one of the top three receivers in 11 personnel. Mm-hmm. I don't know who's taking Elijah Moore, Torrey Davis, or Garrett Wilson off the field significantly for Braxton Berrios. Yeah. And I think the gadget plays, a lot of that was out of necessity last year because we couldn't run a professional offense. Correct. Like I think we might do less. I think we might do less of that. I think Braxton Berrios, ideally we don't see him a ton. And Jermaine Johnson, to me, he reminds me so much. I know he's way more athletic, but he reminds me so much of one of my favorite Jets ever, who just showed up every day and did his dirty work on the edge, and that was Calvin Pace. And I think if Jermaine Johnson, you take a first-round edge and you want it to be a guy who gets you 12-plus sacks, only 10 guys in the league last year got you 12 plus sacks. 9 of them are on an all pro team. So if Jermaine Johnson can be a guy who consistently can get you 6 to 10 sacks, be stout against the run, chase down screen passes, bat down some balls, love it. This year, my over under for sacks on Jermaine Johnson is probably somewhere like 4.5. That's fine.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that's a really, really good point that you made, that, when you started that little spiel saying like the players that Jets fan are setting themselves up for disappointment, because you can see it right now, right? Come week 7, how many people are going to be like, oh, Jermaine Johnson, what a bust. He's only got a sack and a half, blah, blah, blah. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I also I think people got to remember also, rookies are just that, they're rookies. They take some of them take some time to really learn and develop and hone their skill. Not everyone comes into the league setting it ablaze.
Right.
Jeremy Ruckert, right?
Well, Garrett Wilson too. I've had one of my number one when I used to do mailbags for my live stream. One of my number one questions was, can Garrett Wilson have a Justin Jefferson like rookie year? And I'm like, there's no rule saying he can't. Okay, I'll say that. But Justin Jefferson had like 1,400 yards and 8 touchdowns. I would be happy if Garrett Wilson did half of that.
Half of that, right?
His rookie, if he gives you 700 yards and a handful of touchdowns. If you look wide receivers, specifically wide receivers and edge, usually it's like year 3. Now, the 2 guys who I think can come in and I want to see right away then be difference makers, I think you're talking about Sauce and Breece Hall. I think those 2 guys, you're going to plug them in, and I expect them both to be top 20 at their position as soon as they hit the field. I really think that's possible. You look at Sauce Gardner, there's not a lot of corners who are taking that high. In the past decade, you're talking about Patrick Peterson, Pro Bowl as a rookie, Denzel Ward, Cleveland, Pro Bowl as a rookie, Jalen Ramsey, Pro Bowl level as a rookie. And then the Lions took Jeff Okudah, the Lions are going to Lion. But I think at that cornerback position as a top 5 pick, he's going to give up a touchdown. Obviously, he's going to get some penalties. I'm not expecting him to be a shutdown corner if those exist anymore, but he should be an above average starter week 1.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think the two that come in and really live up to the hype, if you will, are the 2 that you said in Breece and Sauce, and the rest of them are going to be rookies. And it's the 3-year window, right? Third wide receivers usually step it up in the 3rd year. I mean, quarterbacks and tight ends, they're usually the 2 positions that take the longer time. Jeremy Ruckert, love the talent. Love the player, love the situation. Glad he's a Jet. I really am. I don't expect him to see a lot of the field this year.
He's got the biggest learning curve ahead of him of any player we took.
Hell yeah.
Even if God forbid, I hate to use the I word, but if something happened to Ozuma or Tyler Conklin, I don't necessarily think right now it's Jeremy Ruckert that steps up. Because that's the learning curve that it takes for some of these rookies, especially at the tight end position, especially for a guy like Ruckert, who, as talented as he is still learning the position himself. He's only played tight end for 3 years. He was a wide receiver. For Christ's
sake. And he almost played. He played almost like offensive tackle at tight end the way they used him, or at Ohio State rather. He really limited reps in the passing game, but he was reliable when he was called upon there. And he definitely has the range, the athleticism, made some splash plays. We'll see that. I think that's a fair point. They could keep, if they keep 4 tight ends, and I don't know, let's say it's Wesco or Yeboah, probably Yeboah, I think would be the 4th best tight end. And, week 1, whatever. We're not even going to say an injury. CJ Uzama has to go and take a crap, and he's got to be, and Tyler Conklin. Both of them ate hot sauce with Jeremy. They got to go see the stalls for a little bit.
Their girlfriends get pregnant. Let's say that you're going to have a baby. You're going to leave the
there we go.
Baby. Let's not talk about injuries.
They're both having babies on the same day. They both got to miss a game. If it's week 1 or week 2, Kenny Yeboah probably gets the majority of those reps over rookie Jeremy Ruckert.
So agreed. However, take it one step back. I don't think I think Kenny. I think if as constituted right now, it'd probably be Wesco
because he can block.
Be Wesco. Yeah, I think right now, again, in that hypothetical,
they can monkeypox.
In that hypothetical, depth chart that the Jets have there, like, think back to like the, what movie was that with Kevin Costner, the football movie? Come on, guys, I can't think of the name of it.
Kevin Costner football movie?
Yeah, the big football movie.
Oh, the draft movie about the draft?
Yeah. So think about like the board that they had, the whiteboard where they moved all the pieces around, so on and so forth.
Draft night? Wasn't it draft day? Draft
day, yeah. So
Iowa
right
knows
now,
if you're
looking at that, thank you, Iowa. If you're looking at that draft board, that big whiteboard with the Velcro names and whatnot, I gotta think they're probably close, but I gotta think Wesco is probably number 3, right?
Yeah, I think I just listened to Green Bean's channel too much when the Kenny Yeboah was on there. He's one of Green Bean's golden child. But Trevon Wesco's got some untapped. Don't you think Trevon Wesco has some untapped athleticism?
Listen, I think Trevon Wesco right now can do more than Kenny Yeboah can. If push came to shove, and let's hope push doesn't come to shove. But I think you can. I think Trevon Wesco can kind of step into more of the offense than Kenny Yeboah.
Yes, he's more versatile. So if you ask me, like, okay, it's 3rd and 7, and we're gonna throw a pass to on a typical tight end Y route to either Yeboah or Wesco, I pick Yeboah. Absolutely. But Wesco can play fullback. Wesco can block. Wesco plays special teams. So Wesco is probably a more valuable roster spot than Kenny Yeboah at this point. That's fair.
But either one, and you could sub them in either out. But like you said, if they both had to go take a shit and were going to miss a day because of it, or they had babies, one of those guys is going to step in and he's going to be the tight end over Rucker.
Right.
I'm not saying they're more talented, but I'm just saying that's how it goes.
And he's been hurt. He's been hurt since the Senior Bowl.
That's right. He's still dealing. He's still dealing with that foot thing. I know I think he just came back. I think they cleared him. I don't know if he played yesterday. I didn't see him out there.
He didn't.
Yeah. But I mean, he's got a lot of ground to make up. He's got a lot of ground to make up, and listen, Rucker, I think is going to be a great player in this league. Right. I'm not going to throw a crown on his head and say he's the next coming to Tony Gonzalez, but I think that he's going to be a great player in this league. I see Rucker being vital for the Jets come, say, 2024 when they're free of Uzama. You make a decision on at that point 30-year-old Tyler Conklin, so on and so forth. You're kind of feeding the pipeline here a little bit with a player like Rucker. He doesn't have to come in. He can be tight end 4 right now for all we care, But coming 2023, 2024, now that's going to be the time where, the old guard kind of moves on to greener pastures, and we got Rucker here,
Yeah, and if you mentioned Tony Gonzalez, I'll throw you mine. I love a good pro comparison. To me, when I watch Jeremy Rucker, he reminds me of one of my, not a Jet, but one of my favorite tight ends growing up, Heath Miller of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's who I see Jeremy Rucker being. Just a complete
listen, I could see player. That. No nonsense, Heath. I mean, statistically, Heath Miller. I mean, he was on those teams. Listen, he always produced, right?
Yeah.
When asked to, he always produced, right? Great blocker, great in line, can find the seam, so on and so forth. I can see that, bro. I can see that correlation. I like that. I was thinking more Jack Doyle. Maybe a better Jack Doyle from Indianapolis.
Yeah, he's got a better name.
Yeah. Sure. Jeremy, you've been quiet for like.
I just the conversation got deep and into it, and I let you guys just go with it, man. I'm tired, but I was just like, I talked a lot the first hour and 40 minutes. I said this is a good chance for me to just relax and produce the show and show some chats and let you guys just go at it. So it was good stuff. I think people are liking the conversation. So, but look, I just love that. It's just getting so hard. I like that it's getting hard. Nick is saying that's what she said. But I'm like, I like that it's getting to that point because it's only going to get worse. There's no sign of slowing down. Like JD is going to keep drafting good players. He's going to keep doing he's going to keep constantly make moves to make us better. So every year it's just going to get harder and harder to make these decisions. It's going to get more and more difficult. But this is what it feels like, right? Because, I mean, when you stink, you don't really care so much because the players that are playing aren't that good. So a few years ago, I mean, just last year, look who our 3 top tight ends were, right? So,
you mean you didn't like Tyler Kroft?
What about Dan Brown?
Maybe,
So I got something. I got something here since I was before when I was looking up the Solly Thomas contract and rankings and whatnot. Here's some interesting numbers, and I think this again, if you're talking straight numbers and not players and not whatnot, but I think this is very, very telling. It's gone back and forth, about do we keep 3 quarterbacks or if we only keep 2, who's it going to be? People love Mike White. Buff, I know your thoughts. I've seen it, on Mike White. I've seen you roll out the whole season of what his projected stats would have been. But for all those guys who are on the fence or who's going to be the backup or do we keep 3, just some numbers, and these are straight numbers. If we were to cut, where'd it go? I just lost them. If we cut Joe Flacco today or August or whenever the cuts come down, $2.85 million dead money next year for a savings of $600,000 this year. If we cut Mike White, $2.54 million in cap savings with 0 dead money. I think if it comes down to the 2, Mike White's a goner. Without a doubt.
I don't think it's coming down to the 2. I think Flacco is QB2, and now it's just a question of do we keep a 3rd or not.
I agree. I agree with that, but there are people. There are the Mike White truthers out there, who hang on to the Cincinnati game. Listen, it was a great game. It was a great game. We upset. We kind of took that underdog thing, and he played his ass off. Cincinnati came in there with no tape on Mike White. Nobody knew who he was or how to defend him or so on and so forth. And the seas just kind of parted and it was that perfect storm that we got from Mike White.
It was a great game. And it was a great time.
I
was there chanting Mike effing White. We were chanting in the beginning of the game. We were chanting Mike White as a joke, and then it became real. Yeah. And I think, the way the players rallied around him and speak of him, he's clearly very respected in that locker room, which is impressive to do for, a guy who is a journeyman kind of backup, undrafted practice squad level player. Mm-hmm. But I think that, number one, if you rewatch that game, it was kind of the Michael Carter game. I think it was a lot of screen passes to Michael Carter and him just dancing and making something out of nothing. And he'll always have that accomplishment. And, and there's nothing wrong with Mike White is one of the 100 best human beings at his job in the world. Okay. And he's going to make it 8 figures in his career doing it. Good for him. But I think he was a 3rd string practice squad QB when we got him. And he's a 3rd string / practice squad quarterback now. I think we saw in the Buffalo game, obviously that was a great defense. So a lot of people look bad against Buffalo, but they figured out if you just drop your linebackers back into those, it's really the short in breaking routes, and he doesn't have the cannon to stretch the field deep. He doesn't have the velocity to hit tight windows, and he's a below average athlete for the position. So to me, Flacco, he knows where to go with the ball. He's a statue, but he still has the cannon. He can a 16-yard out route from the opposite hash. He can get it there. So that's where I'm at with Mike White. He's Kellen Clemens. And good for Kellen Clemens. He played for a decade. He made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mike White is a perennial backup quarterback. Flacco's the guy, if God forbid Zach went down, we could still win games and have hope and talk and have a chance and be realistic, even against really good teams, especially. And he's having a great preseason, and Salah's talking about it, and he's fitting into the system now, and he's been looking great, and he has a Super Bowl on his resume. He's a great backup to have. And Mike White, if we didn't have anyone else, I wouldn't be. I think for a third string, he's great if we held three, and he's not the worst number 2 in the world, but let's be realistic. He's not as good as Flacco, and we're going to do what's best for the team this year. And we want right now, what's best for the team is the security blanket of Flacco.
Yeah.
Jermaine Johnson or Michael Clemens made any noise during camp? I heard JJ got his first sack the other day, and I know that Clemens has been playing on the inside, so I wouldn't expect there to be a lot of noise. But that's kind of news in itself that they're using Clemens on the inside and maybe giving us a little hint of what their plan is with him.
The only noise being made by Michael Clemens is really the sound of all of our jaws dropping when they see that mountain of a man chiseled like out of granite in front of us,
right?
With a big nose ring,
Yeah, it's crazy how lean he is at almost 270 pounds.
Yeah, he is. He's just like, oof, man.
He's built different. Not Jets related, but good Lord, have you guys seen what Jordan Davis is doing to other grown men in Eagles rookie camp?
I saw a clip of him today, and I said to myself, "Good God!" He literally. I'm sure everyone saw that thing that I think SportsCenter had it all over the place when Aaron Donald had the guy by the neck and he was doing like that little jab.
Yeah.
I swear I saw Jordan Davis doing something like that to a guard in the center where he had them both like this, and he was just driving them both backwards like this. It was unfreaking believable.
Wow.
Okay, he guys, this I'm the king of overhyped early saying this rookie is going to be this guy. Now Aaron Donald is just a creature unto himself, obviously in the defensive interior, but Jordan Davis is, oh God, he's Warren Sapp. He's just unbelievable. But anyway, he's not on the Jets, so we won't take too much time on that. But and I know he wasn't a need for us. But if we had a pick, if we were picking in like 20, man, he would have been. I don't know. I don't even remember how long he lasted. I think he was like in the teens. He got picked. He's an incredible football player. But anyway, he's not a New York Jet. I forgot what were we even. Michael Clemens and Jermaine Johnson. Yeah, Jeremy, you're right. He actually has gotten a sack. He got a sack the last 2 days of practice, and then he got a sack in the scrimmage. So it's 3 straight days with a sack for Jermaine Johnson.
That's great.
Which is, you love to see it. Obviously, he's going against, the backup offensive tackles, but, I'll take it. And then Michael Clemens, going up, getting reps on the interior against AVT and Laken Tomlinson. It's going to be a little quiet, He's a rookie, but,
yeah. Would we get anything from Mike White if we traded him?
No.
I don't think anybody's. It seems like a lot of teams have good or decent backup quarterbacks. There was so much parity.
You can get you can find Mike White or better out in free agency after cuts. No one's going to trade you anything for him.
Yeah, and the thing is, is Mike White possibly better than like a 3 or 4 QB2s in the NFL? Maybe, but you're not going to give up on you're not going to trade a guy or cut a guy who's been in your system and in your camp and knows your offense for a marginal talent upgrade. And then if Mike White is cut, I don't know if he gets that $2.5 million. So teams probably don't even want to take on that contract. Teams are going to probably let him get cut, and then you sign him for $1.1 million.
Correct. So,
TVH is asking if who's better or worse. How do you compare Solomon Thomas and Rankins?
So they're really 2 different players at this stage of their career, and I think Solomon Thomas, when we talked about it, he's a little bit more versatile. He can line up inside. He can play. He can play the 3 tech. He can play outside, wide 9, and really set the edge on a rush. They're not the same type of. They don't have the same type of game. Rankins at this point should be that, one tech, sturdy, big, bulky run stuffer that he just wasn't last year. Now earlier in his career, Sheldon Rankins really could get after the quarterback a little bit more. But age has hit him a little bit quicker and a little bit harder. So I think at this stage in their career, we're talking apples and oranges when you're talking about guys like Sheldon Rankins and Thomas. Who's better in the interior? I don't know. I guess it really depends on the situation. But I think that we kind of touched on it. I think they're both going to be on the roster. Who sees more reps and who sees more meaningful reps? I guess that's TBD.
Yeah, when you think about Solomon Thomas, think about like a less talented version of JFM. Is the way I kind of think about Solomon Thomas. And the thing is, he is a little bit of a tweener because he doesn't quite have the quickness to play full-time end, and he doesn't quite have the weight to play the 3-tech. So I think really he's probably best suited as a defensive end in a 3-4. I think maybe. But last year, the Raiders played him a lot inside, and he did have his most productive pass rushing season. Him and Sheldon Rankins had the same number of sacks last year, and you can't be much worse against the run than Sheldon Rankins was last year. So I'd say at this point, I don't know though. Sheldon Rankins at his best season is far better than what Solly Thomas has ever done. He did have a season where he had 8.5 sacks. He was playing at a Pro Bowl level. He looked like he was about 35 years old last year. He's like 27. He just seemed washed. I don't know.
He aged really hard, man.
Yeah, we did not get the Sheldon Rankins we thought we were getting last year. I'll say that.
No, and it's funny too, because those bigger kind of defensive tackles, those run stuffers, you see some of these guys and you don't think of 27 being kind of like the precipice where they fall off. You get guys out there, they're, are 32, 33, how many of these bigger, beefy defensive linemen, Al Woods types have just kind of circulated amongst the teams, for whatnot. So I didn't expect Rankins to fall off as hard as he did, but man, you're right. Like he just didn't he looked like he was slow.
He looked like he was undisciplined, like freelancing. He, to me, like when I watched him, I don't want to ever question the guy's effort without knowing it firsthand. I just don't know if the want to was there last year. To be honest, I don't know if he played with the intensity that it takes to go ahead and stop the run. Like you can go watch it. Like if you guys go Google like Sheldon Rankins Jets X Factor, because they were really critical of him and they wanted to back it up. And Michael Nania put together like a loop of him just getting moved and holes just gaping because he couldn't maintain his gaps. It was bad. Yeah.
Somebody was asking, so Domsey is not going to the opener, but Buffalo Jet fan is. So I think it was Mark Reese. So yeah, Buffalo's going to be there. He's going to be there in the hangar with us. He's also, I'm assuming, going to the tailgate, to the Gotham part. Are you doing that, Buffalo? Are you going to go to the game? Or are you going to come? Are you going to come in the morning?
Yeah. I'm going to do the tailgate thing. I got a bunch of people I want to meet. I know Paul Boyd Green wants me to come by his thing. Jake Assman asked me to stop by his thing. It's just because it's weird because anybody can do what we do. You know what I mean? It's just like I decide just to take the time to like go on here and talk into a screen about stuff that like you guys all know. So it's the being like a known commodity is kind of weird because it feels a little bit unearned and random, but it's cool. Some people want me to come through, so that'll be fun. I'm super excited for it. We just booked our plane tickets, gonna fly in, got the hotel and everything, and so it's all lined up. I can't wait.
I hope you're giving yourself a little cushion for flight delays.
Oh yeah, we're coming in Saturday night. And then we're leaving Sunday night, and so I got Monday off, so it's all good. There's some flexibility there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, just get ready in case that flight gets delayed Saturday night. Load up that car and gas and drive the 8 hours, 9 hours?
Yeah, it'll be 8.5. Oh yeah, there's no way we're missing it. But yeah, I'm excited. No way.
Do you need a ride to the
Are you
stadium?
coming in with your wife? I'm
Yep.
assuming that we good.
Yep. She's gonna come in. So she'll just be. She likes football because it's interesting. Like all the sports I watch, she hates like all of it, but football and like UFC because it's easy to understand what's happening. Like even in UFC, like oh that guy's getting punched in the face. That's probably not good for him. You don't have to know the rules too much. And then football, like oh they got the ball in or they hit that guy. So it should be a good time. Looking forward to it. And no, I don't think I need a ride. I think we'll just Uber. That's what I don't want to. Half the reason why I'm flying is I don't have to deal with my car. I hate having to respond. You know what I mean? I like to just Uber and I'm free. You know?
Yep. No, absolutely. It's going to be cool. There's going to be a lot of people meeting people. I mean, I know that I have to. I'm forgetting who somebody is at a different tailgate that I promised to visit. So I think it's Nick. I mean, I got to go hang out with Nick, and he's not going to be at the Gotham one. I think he does his own thing with his friends. So I'm going to have to hang out and meet his buds and do all that. And then there's, I know Payo Time is going to be walking around the parking lot somewhere. So I might have to meet up with him. So there's going to definitely be moving around.
Game? Is Payo going to the game? Is
Payo Time is going to the game. He has actually got a friend who is a Jet fan who lives in the area and has an extra ticket, and he's coming in. So we're going to get to meet him in person.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited I'm going to get to meet Payo Time. So that's pretty cool. And I don't know if he's really going to do it. I think he's going to wear a Rams jersey. And somebody was joking he should get a John Franklin Myers Rams jersey and wear that one.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, so he'll be there. There's going to be so many different people there too from like the Jets Lounge that I've gotten to know on Twitter that's going to be interesting to meet. Really, what's really cool is I'm driving in and I'll to the game on game day. I'm driving in with Green Bean, but I'm hanging out on Saturday all day with not just Green Bean, but with and Coney Island. But afterwards, I'm going to be running around also with Sack Exchange, with Steve Sack Exchange. Me, and Green Bean, and I don't know who else. We're all going from Coney Island to L&B Pizza, but then after that, we're going back to Staten Island, and Steve is going to take us to, like a pizza tour of a few places. And it's going to be really cool to hang out with him. So I'm super excited. It's going to, we're going to be Garrett Ham. I mean, there's so many people out there that I'm going to meet that day that I've known through Twitter and YouTube for so long now. It's absolutely wild.
Yeah. Well, I'll see you guys. I will see you guys out in Coney Island for sure. My family, my kids are as coaster crazy as Green Bean is. It's funny because we go to a lot of the same places that he's gone. So, they're always asking him questions. Hey, Green Bean, have you been to this park and what was this ride like? So on and so forth. Because they got the direct connection to him via text and whatnot, which is pretty funny and pretty cool. But Sunday the 11th, 9/11 is just not in the cards for me or my family. Just not a good day. So we are not going to the game. I'll be there in spirit. Iowan will be in one of my seats. So he'll carry on. You guys it's going to be a wonderful game, man. I wish it was there. I wish it fell on any other day, the opener, but some things are even bigger than football.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I'm glad you're going to be in Coney Island because you'll meet a lot of people there and we'll get to hang out.
Yeah.
Go on the Cyclone and do all that stuff and get some hot dogs, get some pizza. We're going to have a great time doing that.
Yeah.
So
but on that note, guys, I'm going to cut out because I got to get up in a couple hours.
Yeah, I think it's time to end the show.
Wow. We went like the Titanic director's edition you could have watched.
Why don't you tell them where they can find you, Dom? If you got anything going on, if you want to promote anything, go ahead right now.
Listen, I got some new stuff coming out this week. I'm getting myself a little bit more involved on the website aspect, kind of helping Green Bean to kind of grow that part of the whole Green Bean name. So I'll be doing a lot more writing and editing and be more involved on that spec. So please, www.greenbeanjetsfan.com. Come stop by, see the articles, whether it's from me or anybody else. drop a like and leave a comment. And that will really help us kind of with some of the stuff that we're trying to do there. Outside of that, I will always be at Twitter at DC_NYJets. So come by and say hi.
Cool. And look at this. They're still fighting over the Taylor ham of the pork roll.
Mark Riss is dead to me. He knows that. I mean, this whole pork roll stuff, I don't even want to, like, I got to put that aside, kind of like the Fireman Ed stuff. I don't even want to entertain it.
Buffalo Jets fan, anything you want to talk about? Anything coming up people should be aware of?
So tomorrow night, me and Paul Boy Green got the Paul Boy Green and Buffalo show, 8:00. Excited to have Paul back in the game. He was out of town for a little while, so it's been a couple weeks since we got to do our show. And then Tuesday, same time, Tuesday, 7:00 on my channel, I'm having the new Jets beat reporter for The Atlantic, Zach Rosenblatt, who he's new, so nobody hates him yet, so that's exciting. But honestly, he seems like a really cool dude. So I'm excited to have him on and kind of break down, his inside scoop on what's been going on. So yeah, that's it for me.
Sounds good.
I forgot one thing, Jeremy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I completely forgotten. We got guys every Wednesday, 9 p.m. on Tigo's channel. Tigo and I will be hosting a show. We started last week. It's called Fantasy Island, where we're talking about all things fantasy football related, including the Jets, including, ideas that we have in draft strategies, who to start, who to sit. Going to be a weekly thing every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Fantasy Island with Dom C and Tigo. Come check us out, please.
That'll be a lot of fun. I love it. Hey guys, Jeremy, can I spam your chat really quick with my link?
Yeah,
guys?
Go put your chat in there. Put your link in there, and I'll be I'll probably jump in at 9 p.m. if that's invitation's still there. Whatever
Yes,
it is. Yeah,
absolutely. Come through.
Tomorrow night,
I'll put this. This is the actual link to the stream tomorrow, because what's happening is I post so much damn content that YouTube sets a limit on notifications. So if I upload 3 videos within 24 hours, which you guys know I've been known to do, you may not get a notification even if you're subscribed to me. But if you guys go and open that link once this stream ends and just hit set reminder, you can come through and talk with me and Paul Boy Green. Or if you got better plans to do on a Monday, that's cool too. Go live your life and let's go Jets either way. But just in case you don't get the ding there, you can hit the reminder on it on your own.
Yeah, definitely. And everybody, that's what I got going on tomorrow. I will jump in at 9 p.m. for sure around that time to say hello to Buffalo and talk some Jets. As always, we'll be back on Wednesday, Wacky Wednesday. And I got a bunch of videos. I got a couple that came out today. I got 4 more videos lined to come up out in the next 48 hours. I'm catching a little Buffalo-itis. So check out my vids. And and Tom C., thanks for being on. Buffalo, you stayed with me the whole time. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I love spending time with you. You're the best. And that's why I can't get enough of you. I'm going to come back. I'm going to come to your place and hang out tomorrow. So
yeah, it's a fun time. So I mean, when me, Dom, and Tigo, we're going to go into the weeds and the details, and that's where the fun's at.
Yep, that's where the fun is. So take care, everybody. Good night. I'll leave you with this.
Don't not be Thibodeau. And here it comes. It's about to come in. Oh my God. They didn't. They took Sauce Gardner. Oh my God, they don't want an edge. Maybe he likes Jermaine Johnson at 10. They're not going to get a wide receiver?
Garrett Wilson, wide receiver. Oh my God, no edge.
Who's sitting there?
The Jets traded up. Are we taking JJ? Because I know Braden is in New Zealand saying, we should get Yui, Mike. He's definitely saying that. JJ! We got Johnson at 26! This is great! Yes! They took Roger McCreary, they didn't take Dean, and we traded up. We can get the Kobe Dean. It really is. They took Breece Hall. Wow. I mean, look, I love Breece Hall. But there's also Jeremy Ruckert, who I think is the best tight end in the class personally. They took Jeremy Ruckert. Yes! We got a Jeremy. Oh, and the Jets pick, and it's Max Mitchell, offensive tackle. We needed that. That's wow. We took Michael Clemens. I never heard of him. A defensive edge